accessories, yeah, a little this and that. There's leatherwork and artistry, jewelry and cosplay, unapologetically themselves and coming your way. Yeah, Wolf at the Podcast is here for you today. Hey!
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Wolf at the Podcast. What's going on, everybody? Hello. Welcome. I am your host, Vark Papa, also known as Cowboy, Wolf Daddy, among many other crazy-ass fucking names. And today, we have a really awesome guest that I'm super excited about. I've actually been following his work for a while now. He's a absolutely phenomenal leatherworker. His tooling is just like crazy on point. And I'm so happy that he wanted to do this with me. So everybody, let's give a very warm welcome to Swifthammer Leather. How are you doing today, my friend?
How's it going, man?
Good.
I'm still drinking my coffee, so give me a minute to get there.
All right, I'm I think I'm on cup number 4, probably about half a pot in. So I'm really excited to get to chat with you and stuff. I've been following your work for a while now, and like I said, you are probably one of the most kick-ass toolers I've seen. You know, it's kind of like whenever I talk to Bad Mood or my buddy Working Man's Customs, they'll show me stuff. I'll be like, "Fuck you, dude." Just go oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? You're so fucking talented. Fuck off.
I'm not gonna lie, man. It's not easy. I mean, I was not good at this when I started off, and this is definitely my first crack at I guess art, before I got into leather, I drew stick figures. I was never into it, so a lot of this shit is me figuring it out as I go.
Mm-hmm. And that's a wonderful thing about tooling and carving in general. You do not have to know how to draw.
No, fuck no. It's all feel, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I can't draw for shit, but I can carve. I can carve all day long.
Same thing, dude.
But let's. So why don't you tell a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what it is that you do.
My name is Brandon. I am 26 years old. I started leather crafting 5 years ago. I think my 26th birthday was the official 5-year mark, and that was last month. I'm a big fucking science nerd. For the people that know me, if you get started on electrons, I will just not shut the fuck up for 3-4 hours. I was going to school for chemistry, and then kind of walked into this and kind of went crazy with it. I didn't expect it to, but I mean, it's just kind of how things end up. I play a lot of guitar, play a lot of video games. I don't leave my room often. I go camping and hiking every now and then, but I mean, it's aside from that, I kind of live like a hermit.
Homebody.
Yeah.
So
I pick 2 or 3 things to get really good at, and then just obsess over it.
Hey, man, sometimes that's the way to do it, because your work shows it too. Just the attention to detail that you have, especially when you're carving, and you primarily have focused heavily on Norse and Celtic-ish carvings.
Mm. The first, actually, this was before I got into leather crafting. I went to a local Viking festival in this area, and I thought it was my first introduction to Norse culture, and I thought it was the coolest shit, dude. Because I mean, I played a lot of video games and stuff, and I've always it always caught my attention. But this was the first time that I got to hear a ton of stories from old dudes about, there's so many stories about ridiculous shit. There was a story that he's my number 1 fan now, but when I first met him, he told me about a story about some crazy fucking Scotsman that stood his ground on some farm against 15 dudes that were there to pick up taxes or some shit for their king, and he held them off with a big heavy farm tool. It's just the craziest shit, man. But all the artifacts that they have, you know, they just have ridiculous. Norse artwork is fucking insane. I love the whole concept of weaving, and just like how that plays in with storytelling, and also the fucking mythology, dude. I had a friend and we made it a thing that like we'd all get really drunk and it'd be story time. This dude would just tell us Norse myths, but it's different when somebody's telling it to you in a storytelling setting as opposed to just reading it.
Yeah.
It's so much cooler, so much funner. But like the stories are just fucking wild, dude. It's like straight up comic book shit. They're really funny.
Yeah. Oh, there's I was a part of a Viking reenactment group back in Texas, and like we did historical reproduction, like historical reproduction of like crafts, and also we were full contact steel fighting. Like you want to talk about like, you know, SEA's got nothing on it. Like you want to talk about like you're walking away with like giant fucking bruises and going like, I just got in a fucking fight. And
I'm not
so
gonna
fun.
lie, it feels awfully fucking sketchy when I you know, just the, especially the people who fuck around with this shit all the time, they want to show you that like it's a lot safer than it looks if you know what you're doing. And I've had drunk dudes tell me, throw this spear at me, and I was like, hey man, I don't want to be the one to put you in the hospital.
Yeah.
But there are some dudes that they just very casually will just, you know, block axes with their shields or chuck fucking spears at each other. And the group that I hung out with, they were notorious troublemakers, and they were very much the type to do dumb shit like that. And
Yeah.
the responsible side of me is like, that's fucking stupid, but it's also loads of fun. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I mean, you know, it is like the fighting aspect was built kind of along the lines of like a sport. Like there's still a lot of rules. You know, we are using blunted weapons, and you're not supposed to go all out when you're making a strike. I mean, it happens, but you know, you're not supposed to go.
You're
go
not trying to
all out.
break bones here.
Yeah. Now, when you're like, there's a bunch of these reenactment groups around the world, and the lead guy Tommy was telling me, is like, yeah, like you're not supposed to go all out, but the fucking Russians, the Russian groups, they're fucking dirty. They'll fucking just wail on your hands. And he actually had 2 fingers broken during a skirmish. Because the Russian guys just kept hitting his hands, even though it's not a legal hit. It's not considered a kill hit. Like they're just fighting dirty.
They will get the upper hand.
Yeah, you can't hold a weapon, you can't fight.
I've seen those competitions. It's crazy to see like 5v5s and all that, but like 40v40 skirmishes where there's not enough refs to go around, and there'll just be a dude pinned up against the wall and just getting his ass whooped, but they don't want it to happen. They'll just fucking take it, just getting wailed on the fucking head until like either a ref gets in the way or they just drop.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, you know, especially the full armor combat, like, and even with ours, you want to get hit in the head. Like that's where you want to get hit in the head, because that part, the helmet, that's your fucking, like, your heaviest piece of armor. And like you don't really feel it. Like even when you're like getting full on whacked in the head, it's just like doing okay, cool, I'm good. But like getting hit in the ribs or in the thigh, that's when you're like, oh, that's gonna really hurt tomorrow.
The wrists, man. I remember I picked up I was doing some like fencing practice with a friend just to get into it, and it's really fun, dude. Sword fighting is like chess, except you get hit in the face every now and then, and it kind of it sharpens your reflexes, man. Let's just say that. And I took one fucking hit to the wrist, dude, and it put my ass out for like 2 weeks, man. It's definitely not places you don't want to get hit on direct bone contact.
Yeah, like with us, you're not supposed to go for you're supposed to go pretty much like a mid calf up. You don't want to go towards the knees because you can cause a serious injury that way. And we're gluttons for pain, but we're not trying to hurt each other. We're trying to have fun and, like, you know, really get in the spirit of things. But when you go for the knees, you can really hurt somebody. And
Yeah.
during a home gang, which is basically like a big tournament, I would like I had fought like 11 bouts at that point. And
Oh, damn.
yeah, like it was an all day thing. We'd been fighting for like 4 or 5 hours at that point. It was my last bout, and this was one of my comrades, a part of our shield squad. We were basically like, we've been itching to fight each other because we had not fought each other at all, even during practice, because like just it never occurred. And we were just itching to fight each other because we were just like, dude, I can't wait to fucking fight you. Like, I'm really excited to fight you. Because he's short. He's like 5'5", and like we called him a little tank, and because like he's a very soft-spoken guy, like real kind. But when he fights, he's fucking dirty. Like he's fucking vicious. And I'm like,
Ready for.
yeah, and I was super excited about it. So like they called him the taker of knees because he, for some reason, just like because of his height, like he just happened to hit the knees a little too often. And they called me Tink Tink, which is not it's not exactly the most manly of Viking nicknames, being called Tink Tink. But when you figure out why, because whenever you hit the helmet, it makes this tink sound. And I was notorious for going for headshots. And like all you would hear is just tink, tink, tink. And it got to a point where I would use it as a battle cry and just like yell tink, tink and take somebody's head.
Not gonna lie, if I see a crazy motherfucker yelling tink tink at me, that's gonna be a little I'll be a little confused.
It throws people off. But like we were going our first bout, like I got a headshot in, and the second one we got locked up, and his axe came around and hooked behind my knee, and he tried to dislodge it, but I
How
like.
much armor you got behind the knee?
Huh?
How much armor do you have behind the knee?
None.
Ow.
I wasn't even wearing armor below the knee. Like I was wearing a gambeson and I had a shield and a helmet.
Yikes.
And like he hooked me, and he's so lucky because he pushed me out of bounds. Because as soon as he let go, I rushed him, but they called out of bounds and I had to stop. I was so pissed. Because I was like, I was gonna take the match if they hadn't called out of bounds. So, but back to you. So how'd you get started?
Kind of an accident, man. On my 18th birthday, I still remember because I went out and had my first legal drinks with a bunch of coworkers, and it was fun. My girlfriend at the time got me I wouldn't even say a starting kit, dude. She worked at Joann's. I'm not sure if you're familiar. It's a fabric store. They got like small fucking leather tools there. They had like a hole punch, some fucking scrap straps, a snap setter, little hand tools and shit like that.
Yeah.
So I got like 2 tools, a handful of rivets, and some straps. And it's just because I've always told her that I always wanted to get into leatherworking because I was someone that always wore like cuffs and bracelets and shit, and I just wanted to make my own.
Yeah.
But I just like there's a place here called the Indian Store, and they just sell a bunch of like Native American shit, animal parts. It's really fucking cool, dude. They got so much shit there that you would fucking lose your mind in there.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I'm a bone collector, so like I have a ton of bones and stuff. I would love to go.
Like fucking bags of snake vertebrae. I got a big old bag of cow teeth.
Nice.
Fox pelts, every type of pelt. It's really cool, dude. It's really cool, especially to do like primitive projects and shit, because they just have so much there.
Mm-hmm.
It's apparently all like collected by the fucking owner and his family and stuff.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
But she got me a little starter kit, and I kind of went like really obsessive with it. And even though I didn't like have proper tools, like I used a nail to punch holes. I used a fucking metal hammer, which for most leather workers, no, you're not supposed to. Like,
Yeah,
I always thought it was people.
you can feel the cringing of all the leather workers, just like
Yeah,
why no.
I don't know if you can tell, but the top end of this tool is all mushroomed out.
Yep. Oh
Yep,
yeah.
it'll do.
Yep.
I didn't have a punch board or any shit like that, so like I just had my computer desk and I brought in a stump from outside to do all my punching on. So I
Which is
kind of just
also
used
something that kind of makes you go.
yeah, and it just meant that like getting anything done took
Yeah.
like a simple ass fucking bracelet would take me like 4 to 6 hours, and nothing I did was the right way. Like I could engineer it and figure out how to like create a cool design and how to build it and put it together, but it was just like, dude, when you're not working with the right tools, it takes forever.
Oh yeah, like hardcore. I mean, I like to tell because I mean I do leatherworking at home, but I also I run a leather supply shop, and so like my biggest thing I tell people that are really getting into it is like, look, you want to invest in the proper tools because it's going to make your life so much easier.
It's gonna save you time, but it's gonna keep you from fucking up, which is big, dude. Not only is it gonna save you time, but you don't want to be frustrated. Like
Yeah.
you can fuck something up and that's just part of it. You're gonna fuck it up and then try to do it again, but now you're gonna try to do it again frustrated, and now you're gonna fucking rush it, and it's not gonna come out. You just want to have good tools, man, just because it's gonna make your life more convenient and nicer.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like, where would you say your primary expertise would be? Like, my money is on carving, but do you feel like there's something that you do extremely strongly in leatherworking?
I don't think I'm the best tooler. I think I have a knack for designing, for creating cool panel geometry, but also like where art is going to be placed, because that's not always obvious. Like a lot of people think that like it's just the tooling that they focus on. Yeah, if you were to tell this person, all right, let's like you try to design this wallet, they would have no clue where the fuck to like place the artwork, where to place things. And I feel like that's where I spend a lot of my time, is figuring out how can I change something that's already been done a million fucking times and make it a little bit more unique. And I feel like that's what I've been practicing a lot lately, is like even with like that fucking pirate belt that it's shown right there. It's like, how do I turn something as simple as a big fucking strap into something that looks a little bit more unique with like the silhouette and where artwork is placed, so that like especially with belts, I focus on not just what the artwork is, but where is it going to be on your body. Like on the back section, there's going to be a certain spot, but like also on the front opposing sides, like right here, there's going to be artwork right here with a complementing piece in the middle. And I try to focus on everything of like where they're all going to be in relation to each other in three-dimensional space. Because it's like one thing to see it when it's flat and you're working on it, but also like bend that thing. Like a wallet, I try to focus on like the crease right down where the bend is, and like try to put some interesting designs there, or spots around where like the snap is going to be and shit like that. So I think I have a little bit of a strong suit in designing and tooling, I guess. But I follow so many fucking leather dudes, and there are some motherfuckers that are talented as hell, dude. And I don't feel like I'm at their level yet.
Oh yeah, trust me. Like, you know, Bad Mood, and she's
She's done some crazy shit, man.
I know. I used to live with her back in Austin, and like, she was one of the first when I really started, because I've been doing leatherworking on and off for 8 years now. I haven't been doing it like I did it as a hobby, but the last 2 years I just deep dived into it, and she was one of the first people that I really got to know in the leather carving community, really. And like I just like look at her work and I'm just like, fuck you, dude. But I love her to death, and she's so great, and has like she claims I'm better, and I'm like, no.
She's also very fucking humble.
Yeah. We had a discussion about like the self-deprecating artist when I had her on the podcast. because we're both
She,
notorious for it.
her fucking coloring game is on point, dude.
Oh
Those
yeah,
like super light and very heavily pigmented colors are not easy to pull off on leather, and I feel like that's something. And I don't expect people to know this shit, but like doing anything white already is like a hard fucking project.
yeah. Especially when you're like you're using a medium like leather, which unless you've been doing it for a while, doesn't work the way you think it's gonna work.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why it's hard to explain to people how it is. It's not obvious. That's the
no.
one thing that I tell people is it does not it's not going to act the way you think it will. It's
Hmm.
not like
And that's all about experience. Like that's just getting your hands dirty and
yeah, you
doing the
learn that
work.
shit after making enough mistakes.
Hmm. So, speaking of mistakes, what do you think was one of your biggest challenges as a leatherworker, or that you're still facing?
Definitely self-promotion and fucking marketing. That is something that never I feel like I've never gotten good at. I mean, I've definitely improved, and I'd say I improved in bit to give myself some credit compared to what I was doing before, but like that's somewhere where I am still fucking lacking so hard, and I'm trying to make improvements, but I feel like that's to do this as a job, that is one thing you need to get good at. And if you're not going to put
Yeah.
as much as a priority on that as your crafting abilities, and this is the one thing that like if you fucking get me started about any of this bullshit, this is something I just won't shut the fuck up about. But I talked about this with friends. That's something that I learned in a history class was when cities, like the first cities in Europe were ever made, and it was seriously just markets, markets that used to be annual, and then they made them biannual, and then they're so successful. It's like, hey, how about we have one once a month, once a week, and now it's just there's a fucking market here all the time because it's a really good place to trade and it's a lot of money. So they just have a permanent market set up. The thing is, they have to pay fucking taxes to whoever owns that land, and it just became more financially it's financially smarter to just do a charter, which is, hey, whoever the fuck owns this land, we're just going to pay you one big chunk of money now, but we don't want to hear shit about you for like ever. And that's how fucking cities are made. They were just markets.
Yeah.
But there were two guilds. There were the crafter guilds, and then there were the merchant guilds. The people who make the shit and the people who sell the shit. The people who sell the shit have always had an upper hand on the people that make the shit. Selling it has always been, since the fucking dawn of time,
Yep.
more important than actually making it.
Yep.
So like you can be the best crafter in the fucking world, and if nobody knows about you, it doesn't mean anything.
I mean, it comes down to that. Like, there's so many different personalities out there. Like I like to describe it in like three ways. You have the folks that are the merchants. You have the folks that are just naturally good at selling shit. They're great. They know how to present it. They know how to like you know speak to people to get their attention. And in this day and age, it's like using social medias. Then you have the actual artists. The artists are the folks that they just put their heart and soul into their work. But as far as social media, they're like, fuck it, I don't know what I'm doing. They just want to create artwork.
Yeah.
And then you have the folks that are like a little bit of a blend of both. Like, it's very rare that you're going to have someone that's good at both.
Oh, they exist, man, and I'm
They
so
do.
envious.
Yeah, no, they absolutely do. I I can sell stuff, but it's very much in person.
Yeah.
I am not great with social media. Like,
Same, dude. Like at an actual show, if somebody's asking about stuff, like making a sale in person, especially with stuff like this, way fucking easier. And I've had a chat like how I mentioned earlier when we were chatting that you can get away with doing a lot of trades and shit.
yeah,
I used to have a financial advisor, and the dude was like the coolest. He was a fucking older guy, and he's so cool. But basically, the dude just liked us. Like, my ex met him at some fucking like weird little expo or some shit, and he thought that our story was cool, so he had us come down and talk to him. And the dude gave us financial advice for months, never asked for any type of payment or anything like that. And it was normally like these. He's like, what I normally do for day to day is like this other type of shit. If you wanted to have like an actual consultation with me, it's like hundreds of dollars per hour. So we got like thousands of dollars worth of like personal advice where he's going to sit us down and go through our specific finances and talk to us about like what we need to do as a business and all that bullshit. And yeah, that dude has given me such good fucking advice. And fuck, what the fuck did I bring up my financial advisor for? See what weed does to you kids? Don't fucking do drugs, man.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, for me, like when I started Wolf at the Workshop, like I already had a little bit of a base for selling. It was selling my own stuff that I was having an issue with. Like I had definitely that like a little bit of an inferiority complex. Like I just didn't feel my stuff was good enough. So like I knew I could sell it. I know how to sell it. I just didn't have the confidence to sell my stuff.
Lack of confidence, yeah.
Yeah. And
that's definitely something that's practiced, man. Like the problem is being trained as a fucking scientist. I don't like telling people bullshit.
mm-hmm.
The problem with that is whenever you tell someone the honest fucking truth, it's not marketable at all.
It's hard.
I don't want to tell people, hey, this wallet is indestructible, because in reality, it's not, dude. Like, water will fucking ruin it. But also, like, if you pull fucking hard enough, if you really fucking want to, I mean, I've never seen it done before. I'll tell you this story about the crackhead after this, but wallets are not fucking indestructible. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are like, a fucking human will not be able to pull it apart, but they're also, in all honesty, they're not indestructible. I don't like telling people like marketable bullshit because I know it's not true. There's always exceptions to fucking everything. And that's like the scientist in me saying, well, technically, if you fucking pulled hard enough right there, it will tear. But like, it'll never happen, even if you tried. And like, I did this show once, when I was first starting off. I did like a lot of little small shows because they're super fucking cheap to get into, and they're like low risk, It's like $70 is all they're asking for. Even if I sell one thing, that's all my money back. And honestly, like, it's just good to get out and shit like that. And I did a small show out in the middle of fucking nowhere in Banning. It's this like desert town where it's just like biker heaven, dude. Just a bunch of little shitty bars and out in the middle of nowhere where you can do whatever the fuck you want, get in trouble. And there's this I was like the only vendor there, and I'm telling you, when I say small, it was small. It was like some bands popped up behind a bar. They had tacos there, and they had me. That was it. Surprisingly, I actually fucking made money at these shows, dude. Like I was expecting to make like $80 and go home, but just like maybe with a couple custom orders or some shit, mostly just to show off my stuff, take some pictures, whatever. I was invited to this show like 3 times, and I actually make decent money there. You wouldn't expect it because I'm the one fucking vendor, but I feel like everybody has this idea of like, we got to support that dude. Like, they're not leaving my shop without buying at least one thing. So I actually make money there. But There's this drunk motherfucker that came in, and he was definitely very drunk, but I would not throw it past him for him to be a fucking junkie. I mean, I've been around meth heads before. That dude looked like a junkie, and he just fucking shark eyes, nothing's going through his head, just walks right up to my table and grabs a wallet and just fucking starts to like attempt to tear it apart.
Ooh.
And my ex at the time, my girlfriend at the time, she fucking goes up to me. She's immediately about to say something. I was like, no, dude. Like, we're not gonna get stabbed right now over a fucking like $80 wallet. And I'm honestly curious. Like, I've never seen somebody go at it before. I was like, I want to see you fucking tear it. And see the fucking like veins popping on the side of his head. And he just puts it down, and I kind of just flexed it out. For totally fine. I was like, wow, that's a lot stronger than I thought.
There you go. That's fucking insane.
fucking making that dude leave. But oh my god, dude, it was funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't had anything like that. I've had a lot of the folks that come up and be like, you know, they'll take a look at it and ask me the price. I'll tell them, and they're like, "Oh my god, you're charging for this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I made that, bitch. Go fuck yourself."
Well, it's as simple as for me, I just tell people how long it takes to make shit.
Yeah.
For the most part, most reasonable people are just gonna be like, "Oh, well, that's fucking understandable." It's like,
Yeah.
this isn't something that took me like 9 hours to make, plus materials and all the bullshit. I don't really charge for materials because most of the stuff that I make is small, and the materials aren't expensive. It's not all things, but most things.
Mostly.
But it's mostly just all I have to do is just tell someone how long it took me to make that.
Yeah.
Like the wallet itself, whatever, $120, but the fucking image that's on it, that shit took me like 6 hours of tooling and an extra 2 hours of coloring. That was a whole other day just for that image.
Yeah, and like you said, most people are understanding when you tell them the amount of work that goes into it. But like, I mean, when you've worked a couple of shows and all you have are those drunk motherfuckers that, you know, just want to kind of troll you.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten more of those than anything else. But for the most part, like, shows have been really awesome for me.
I feel like I've gotten kind of lucky. I don't get too many bad customers, man.
Yeah.
Like, most of the people that see my shit understand. Like, they're coming in, and more often than not, I get people that just straight up look at it and be like, "Oh hell no, I can't fucking afford anything." So they're just very honest about it, and
Yeah.
I don't take offense, dude. Like, if someone tells me like, I've had it a handful of times, like, "Wow, that's expensive." It's like, yeah, no, that's fucking expensive. Even for me, that's fucking expensive. That's ridiculous. I would not pay $500 for a wallet. But for people that understand like the value of things, and that fucking thing that's in your hand took me like 3 solid fucking days to finish.
Yeah.
Like that, it's literally a fucking piece of art that you can use as a wallet. And those people, I mean, I think that shit's cool. I just can't afford it.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely noticed a shift in a lot of folks' mindsets over the past couple of years. People are going away from the mass-produced stuff that they can get cheaply. They're realizing that stuff doesn't last anymore, and like, especially folks that are really getting into the supporting local movements and supporting small businesses. Like, I'm noticing a lot of less of that.
I've definitely noticed there's a lot of people that, like, I've gotten hit up specifically like, "Hey, are you in Oceanside, California?" And like, "Yeah, cool." I had a choice between like 4 different other people, but I want to find somewhere local in this area that I can pay. It's like they went to me specifically just because of where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there are people who like will hunt down handmade artists just because they would much rather support a person than support a big company where they don't really, like, their money doesn't really mean anything to an individual person. Like, you can go to Walmart, you can drop $500 at Walmart. Walmart doesn't even fucking notice, dude. But you can drop $500 on me, and that's like 2 bills you just paid off for me. It's like a big deal for me. 2 bills
as groceries. That's like, you know that might even have a little bit of change left over to buy a beer. I mean, so
yeah, I've definitely noticed. I didn't know that existed until I got into leatherworking. But doing this as a job, it's definitely normalized it for me. Where there's a lot of people that are hunting down for this shit just because it means more to them. It's the wallet in their pocket isn't just a fucking like a thing that they bought. It's like it has its own life. They know where it came from, and it's gonna be with them for so fucking long that it's gonna have stories, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
My wallet has a big old fucking like punch mark in it, and it's because I went fucking hiking once, and I just ate it on a fucking rock, and I just smashed my wallet into it. And what it looked like at the time was a gash. Now it just looks like the tiniest little scratch. I was honestly really surprised, like how, like, it honestly just healed from it. Because if it didn't take the impact while it was wet, it's not gonna hold on to it. It'll just rub out.
Yeah, eventually.
I like that. I like that little marking on my wallet because I remember that once I fucking ate it while we were on this really dangerous hike.
Yeah, I actually do that. Like whenever I'm picking sides and like hides and stuff, I'll actually look for unique scars and brands because I'm like, I can make something unique out of that there's only going to be one. You're never going to see that mark or scar again.
I've been holding on to a fucking there was this hide that I got that had the most gnarly fucking scar in it. And so I cut out a big strip from it so that I can make like a wallet out of it or something someday. And I've been holding on to it for like 2 years now. Just like waiting for the right time to use it. But I know exactly what you're talking about, man. Sometimes you just get like you can try to emulate that type of scarred effect and it's never gonna be anywhere as cool as an actual like buckshot or a fucking scar or
Yeah.
something like that.
Like, I mean, I actually have this one utility leather that has a shit ton of tick bites on it, which most people they hate that, but the way this leather looks, it looks like, pebbling on it, which is
Yeah.
really cool. And when people ask me how'd they get that effect, I'm like, that's not an effect, that's all tick bites and tick scarring.
Nature doing her thing, man.
Exactly.
I like the local Indian store here, man. They have like a lot of pelts that are just naturally beat the fuck up, and dude, that would take me hours with like a belt sander or something to get that effect, and that's just how they are, you know.
Yeah. And like, when you utilize a antique, for example, like an antique will make those pop out and more noticeable.
Makes it just stand out more. It's almost like cranking the contrast on on Photoshop or something.
Right. So how long have you been are you doing this full time? Like, are you a full-time leather worker now? How long?
This is so funny because it didn't feel like this. It felt like I had been doing it as a hobby for like a year before I tried to sell it, and I actually went back into like my timeline of like when I would have started, but also like, for tax reasons when I started making money. I went to my first show 4 months after I started.
Damn.
So that means for like 3 months it was just, dude, it was an unhealthy obsession. I'm talking about like staying up till 4 a.m. finishing something because I have this habit of like I can't fucking sleep if something is left unfinished. Like it really fucks with me, dude. And to me in my head, it's so close. I just gotta do this and it's fucking done and I can call it done. But it's like already 2 a.m. and I'm literally punching every fucking hole individually with a fucking nail and it just takes forever and just. So it was a lot of that. And then my first show was in 4 months. Man, everything about this whole fucking event was like, this shouldn't have happened. Yet it fucking happened.
Yep.
I went to that Viking festival that I told you where I bumped into Norse artwork for the first time. That's honestly what got me into this. Somebody that runs that show, it's like the same group of Viking reenactors that I hang out with. They run like a good chunk of that show for their yearly event. And I talked to the dude, and he's like, "Yeah, man, if you want to," because the guy, one of my friends, like a coworker that introduced me to them, told him that I do leather stuff, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, if you want to fucking set up a table and sell some stuff here, you're more than welcome to." And I was like, "Wait, don't you gotta like have like a resale license and do paperwork and shit?" He's like, "Nah, fuck, no, you don't gotta worry about that bullshit." It's like, oh. So this is a fucking Viking festival, and I roll up in a fucking brown T-shirt and some shorts. Like I was not prepared for this at all, dude. I this fucking dumb little chest full of a bunch of little bracelets and shit like that. It was seriously just bracelets and cuffs. Nothing crazy. And those like fucking, it's like a little wooden, I still have it. It's like a little wooden table that you just pop up in front of your fucking couch when you're eating a shitty microwave dinner or something like that. I brought one of those and a chest and a fucking card reader. And I shit you not, I had this much space to fucking sell. That's it. Just I put my chest on the table and I just laid all my shit out so people can see. I was not expecting to sell anything. Mind you, this is only 4 months into me doing this. I wasn't planning on doing this for money. It's just I had a ton of shit that I just made just to make it. And like I even had like specifically designed things that I don't like them. They're like pink and white and purple and shit, but it's like I have the colors. I'm gonna fuck around with it and see what I can do.
Yeah.
Didn't ever intend to sell it. They kind of just fucking piled up. It took it to this show, and dude, getting in was so funny, man. It was like the most hood shit. So this is like it's a Renaissance. It's a fucking Viking festival. It's basically a Ren fair, but it's really fucking tiny. Like if you were to, you can literally run to the other side of this thing in like a minute.
Yeah.
And but it's extremely successful. Like this fucking show, dude. It's I don't know what it is. It gets so much support from the city, but as tiny as it is, you like vendors make a shitload of money there. It's actually really hard to get into the show. So like I didn't know it at the time, but like I would not normally be able to vend there. If I was just some normal jack off the street, I would never be able to vend there. I go to the fucking front gate, not even dressed up or anything, and I tell security, some guy by the name of Loki says I can sell here. And they look at me, they're like, the fuck's this guy? And so they get the guy that actually like runs the place, and he comes down here and he goes by Odin. He's in a full Odin getup with a fucking blind eye and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He comes up to me and he's like, "Hi, what's going on?" And I was like, "Somebody by the name of Loki says that he'll vouch for me if I want to come vend here." And he's like, "I know what you're talking about." He gets the dude's. I didn't even know his name. That's the thing. I met the guy fucking once. He just told me, "Come here and full," and I got your back. So I just fucking was like, all right, well, we'll figure it out and we'll just shoot from the hip and see how it goes. I fucking show up. They call Chris up to the front, and Chris is like, oh, yeah, I remember that guy. I got you. And they fucking flag me in, and I just carry my shit all the way to the back. They set me up right in front. Like, it is the most crowded fucking area. In terms of, like, room for vending, there's none. 1 or 2 people can see my stuff at the same time. That's it. It's that fucking crowded.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, it's right in front of their it's like it's a shooting range. It's an archery, spear throwing, and axe throwing range, and that particular spot has a massive line like going leading up to it the entire day. It's like a fucking 14-hour show or some shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
and all fucking day there's a huge line coming up to it. So it meant that there was constantly people that had to look at my shit because I'm like pressed right the fuck up against them. They have nothing else to look at. So I had a constant influx of customers. I didn't even have to like flag people in or any of that bullshit. I was in a weird spot, but it was like they're forced to be in my area. So it turned into, I'm not sure if these are going to sell. Like I was trying to think like, while I was walking up to the gate, like what the fuck am I going to price these things at? Because each one of these things took me like 8 hours. Like it's a dumb little bracelet, but it took me like 8 hours to make this. I had, even at minimum wage, I have to sell these things at like $80. And like to me, that's for a bracelet, that's fucking insane. Dude, I opened my fucking box, and as I'm like just taking shit out of this big shoe box that just lay out in front of the table, people, were already like around me. So people start grabbing shit and looking at it, and I was like, oh fuck. And while I'm like in the middle of like, I'm maybe 45 seconds in, some dude grabs one. He's like, how much for this one? And I was just like, $80. It's like, done, sold. And I was like, fuck. And basically the whole 2 days, the whole first day ran like that. I almost ran out of shit. Like I didn't think I would run out of shit. I had like 60 bracelets, dude. I'm telling you, those first 4 months, like it was a problem. I fucking blew through more than half my inventory on the first day, which is like more cash than I've ever seen in my fucking life, man. So that night I went home. I mean, I'm already tired. I was there for like 14 hours. I'm fucking sweaty. I've been standing all fucking day. And I went straight back to work, and I stayed up till like 3 a.m. that day. I seriously got like 2 hours of sleep, but I just made a bunch of like big bracers and shit. And I brought them all back, and every single fucking one of them sold. I had like 5 things at the end. People were literally buying the shit I was wearing, dude.
Nice.
Some fucking old white ladies like, hey, how much for the fucking hair tie you're wearing? I was like, I don't know. How much you want to pay for it? Like, it's fucking sweaty, dude. Like, I don't fucking care.
That's fucking awesome.
That show is that fucking successful, dude. That show has been a record breaker for me every fucking year, but not just for me. Like, I talk with another leather guy, and this dude does big shows. He's like the biggest name here in San Diego. He has never made that much money before at a show. Like when I told him how much the first time when like every year I would basically continue to do that ghetto bullshit where I would just pop up in this tiny little spot unofficial until like 3 years in, they said that, all right, the show is getting big to the point where we need to like get insurances involved. And because of that, like everything has to be official now, which means they're kicking everyone out of that spot. Lucky for me, because I'm so successful, like people fucking know me there, dude. They're like, we'll make an exception for you and we'll give you a vendor spot. I was like, dude, There's a wait list to get in here, dude. And they're
Damn.
just straight up, all right, come on in. Like, fuck. So they give me an actual vendor spot. And dude, the spot they put me, it sounds like it's not really a spot. It's literally on a hill. Like you can't put a tent there. I had to come in the day before and like reshape the land so I can put some fucking bricks so that I can level it out enough to put a tent. That's how like they
Damn.
didn't want to tell me to fuck off, but this is what they can do for me. I'll fucking take it.
Mhm.
But the way that it works is in order to go where the vendors are, you come in, there's a big gate, but it immediately splits off. It does a big ass circle and it comes back. So there's like a circle of vendors you got to come around. My spot was literally at the front of the gate. It doesn't matter if you go left or if you go right. You have to go by me. So it meant that I didn't. There's a lot of people who just took one path and never saw the other half of the vendors or never paid attention to them.
Yeah.
I got to see everybody on their way in and on the way out. And I like because I know this show. I've been to this show a million times as a vendor, but also like helping running the place. I know how this show goes down. I know all the people who work here. I know all the connections. So like I basically pulled some strings to make fucking sure that this first showing as an actual vendor with our full tent, with all our signage and all that bullshit is gonna be like a hit.
Mhm.
So I put it in order. You're familiar with the horns that they sell at Tandy?
Yeah.
So I basically got a ton of those drinking horns. I put in a ridiculous order for like the first year was like 25, which I mean it's not a lot, but those horns aren't fucking cheap.
Yeah. They're
And in terms of drinking horns, like most people will just buy shitty plastic coated drinking horns. So like, hey, dude, if you want to, I'm not, not dissing you if you do that. That's money right there. If you're finding that your business is working with that, then fucking you do your thing. But I would feel weird putting ultra expensive leather shit on a cheap horn. So I wanted to make sure that everything in the project was fucking nice.
Mhm.
I invested in a shitload of horns, and in order to make sure that these motherfuckers sell, because after I did all the math, like I'm making a fucking $300 sling for this thing, and the horn itself, it cost me like $25 to buy it, but I also had to coat the inside myself with beeswax. I didn't go the plastic route, but using beeswax is way more work intensive, dude.
Oh yeah.
And if you want to make sure that it's not like super gunked up on the inside, so like you have a massive horn and you get like one shot out of it, if it's all gunky, it's a lot of fucking work to make sure that the whole horn is like super buffed and glossy and nice and high end. It's a lot of just straight up elbow grease, dude. So
Yeah.
I had to sell just the horn itself for $90 on top of the fucking like $300 leather thing that goes around it. These were expensive motherfucking horns. Like our competitors, and it's hard to even call them competitors because like there's one other leather guy there and I was really good friends with him before I even showed up. So this dude he had like nothing bad to say about me. I have nothing bad to say about him.
Mhm.
But my shit is like 6 times the price of his. And the other people that are selling horns, they're selling drinking horns for like $25 as opposed to mine that are like 400 fucking dollars. But this is what I did. I know that they have a beer garden. Basically they get all and there's a lot in this area, dude. There's the fucking San Diego has so many breweries. But they get like all the local meaderies and breweries, small little area for them to sell their alcohol and all that bullshit. But I know them. Like,
Mhm.
half of them are my friends. The other half are friends of friends. Like, I fucking know these people, dude.
Yeah.
So the lady that organizes her job is to organize the entire beer garden and get all the fucking alcohol distributors on the same page and all that bullshit. I know her. That was like my friend's wife at the time. So I talked to her and said, hey, is there some way we can work out a deal where like I'll print out a bunch of these coupons that say this is a free drink. So every time I sell a horn, my whole thing is if you buy a drinking horn, your first drink is on me. I give them a little fucking coupon.
Mhm.
They take that coupon over to the fucking beer garden, and all the alcohol distributors know that if they get these tickets, I'll pay for them at the end of the day. It's not much. It's like $5 for a fucking drink.
Yeah.
But you would not believe how convincing that is when you're about to buy this. Say, hey, dude, if you buy this, your first drink is on me. That's why people are like, done. Deal, dude. This is gonna be the last horn I'm ever gonna fucking have. This is the coolest motherfucking sling, because they were all tooled out and shit like that.
Yeah.
And the first year, 25 of them sold on the first day. There was people coming back the second day, and there's like a lot of people there that day, and they have badass drinking horns, and people are asking, dude, where the fuck did you get that? They sent them over to me. It's like, dude, they sold in like the first 3 hours. So next year, I didn't double down. I brought 60, which is a big of a fucking
That's a
jump
big fucking-
compared to
yeah.
carve the first year. Did the same thing, and dude, they all sold. I have like 8 left, but it's an incredible amount of money, just a lot of fucking work. But it's stuff like that that's like part of your job as a seller is to like plan and make sure that that shit is gonna go off without a hitch.
No,
So that's a lot of
absolutely.
fucking money and time you can lose to put all that into it and then not work out.
Yeah, because you gotta think about it this way. Especially when you're thinking of it from a business standpoint, you make this product, and if it's just sitting there gathering dust, it's the best way I can put about it is it's not paying its rent.
Yeah.
It's not paying its rent, and that's how like I actually learned that concept from a chicken farmer. Like she was like she would be like
The rule of selling is if it's not selling, it's wasted work.
yeah, I mean and doing the beer, the first buying the first beer, that's taking it to just that next level of service almost. Like you're doing it because you know what, I gotta make myself stand out, and this is something I can do for the customers to appreciate what they buy, and like that's actually a brilliant fucking idea.
Like I have so much respect for the people that buy my shit and support me, because that's a lot of faith to be putting into someone. Like, you're just gonna fucking take this dude's word for it that this thing that you're buying is gonna last forever and all that shit. Like, it's quality that a lot of people, like, if you're not a crafter, you're not gonna be able to fucking tell, you know? Like, you don't know if what you're getting is like super high end. It just looks pretty. And the people that put their fucking faith in me and just know that what they're buying is super super nice shit, like, I try to figure out ways to show them my appreciation. A lot of times people who spend a lot of money just get free shit from me.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's interesting because that makes me think of a conversation I had at work. We were talking, we had this customer come in. She wanted to have someone clean her Louis Vuitton bag, and like she paid $6,000 for this Louis Vuitton purse, and I'm just like, I've held Louis Vuittons and stuff, and like gotten to like kind of take a look at them, inspect them and stuff. I'm just like, I'm not impressed. I'm like, how? Like, you are literally, all you're doing is you're paying for that name, and the quality is not even that great. Like, I know some folks that sell their purses for like $100, and their purse is gonna like outlive that Louis Vuitton bag 20 times over.
A lot of those designer names, they absolutely sacrifice like integrity, like build integrity in terms of design. They'll make something that looks cool but will fall apart. Like, there's nothing about the build that is actually going to keep it from fucking falling. Like, they're just weak points all over the place, but they're weak points that look pretty. But it's like, dude, there are ways to compromise. It's just fucking harder. Like, to make something that is both pretty and strong, it's doable. It's totally fucking doable. But a lot of the times it gets really fucking expensive in order to pull that off. And they would much rather, their goal is to, how do we make the cheapest thing and market, like, how high can we get away with, essentially, especially with those fucking name brands like that. And there are some people who are still convinced, if you want to drop $6,000 on a bag, dude, I got nothing against you. Honestly, people like that are the things that keep me going. But I will let you know, I can make so much of a cooler fucking bag with $6,000 than some boring ass shit you're gonna get from a fucking designer.
Exactly. And I mean, talking about like, they sacrifice the integrity. That's a big reason why I hand stitch everything. Like, everything I do is going to be hand stitch. I will, like, I have a couple of sewing machines. I mean, they're broke ass sewing machines. I need to fix them, but I have them. But I'll never use a sewing machine because I just, the product that I make, I would rather hand sew it and make sure that it lasts so much longer and you get a much better product out of it, because that's my name attached to it. Yeah.
And I feel like with hand stitching, you're very much like, every stitch can't go ignored. Like if there's a fucking problemed piece or if there's a stitch that landed in a weird spot, you will fucking know about it. As
Hey,
opposed to like machine stitching where I've seen it done before where someone will run through a stitch and then realize there's like 3 inches where it's like fucked up. And it's like it
yeah,
happens and it's you that very fucking rarely happens with hand stitching. Like you can't, dude. You are very intimately going through every single fucking hole. And if there's a problem, you will find it.
exactly. And when you're machine stitching, if you veer off a little bit, like that entire stitch line is fucked.
Yeah, that's the one thing that drives me insane, dude, is
Mhm.
I can't fuck up stitching. Like I've seen some crafters that like will just straight up botch a fucking stitch line, but they don't give a shit. They'll just keep moving. But like sometimes if that happens to me, I have to toss the whole fucking wallet.
Yeah, no, I've tossed projects for like a something that is just like so obvious. I'm like I can't sell this.
I'm not gonna say all fucking machine stitching is bad though. Like I
No,
have a
no, no.
friend, she's very much like a ghetto crafter. She's more she bitch can fucking cover ground though, man. She is a fucking badass. Like she will create a whole motherfucking costume before you leave her house. Like she can cover ground, dude.
Oh, nice.
But part of that she sacrifices is like she rushes a lot. And so
Mm.
she'll use a machine stitch, and it used to be really fucking bad. And then I showed her basically what I'm doing in order to make sure like every stitch lands where it needs to be and everything is perfect. So she's kind of like implemented that into her work. So there are ways that you can make your machine stitch better. And it means that her speed is now like 1/8 of the speed she normally goes. She's still using machine, but dude, it's nice. Like there is a way for you to make machine stitches nice, but your speed is gonna come down a lot.
Yeah, and like a buddy of mine, like he hates hand sewing. He loves his machines, and the thing is, he's good at using sewing machines. Like I'm not saying that hand stitching is superior to sewing machines. I'm not saying sewing machines are superior to hand stitching. I'm saying that, like, for me, I'm always going to use hand sewing. For him, he's always going to use a machine because, but granted, I do absolutely bow to the fact that, machine stitching 10 times faster than hand sewing.
Oh
Easy.
fuck yeah.
Like, you could pump out so much more with a machine. But for me, that's not where I'm about. And people know that.
uh, that's definitely a selling point with it's like every time somebody orders a belt from me, I always give them a disclaimer. Say, hey, I would fuck it, especially if this is going to be tooling. If it's not going to be tooled and it's just going to be stamped or whatever, I mean, it's not a big deal. But especially if you're going to drop some money on tooling, I would fucking highly recommend that your belt be double-sided and completely stitched. It'll just help with keeping it from stretching, and it's just going to help the artwork over the years. The
Especially when you
problem
have a liner.
adding, especially with like a 40-inch strap, doing both sides, that's like 80 inches of stitching. That's that's a lot of fucking stitching, and it's gonna increase the price. It's essentially probably gonna double the price of you for me to hand stitch the entire thing.
Yeah.
But I would highly recommend it. I don't like to like upsell people on shit, but if there are weaknesses in the build, I will let them know like, hey dude, it's entirely up to you, but I would fucking recommend doing this just because it's gonna be better for whatever you're getting.
Exactly. You're just going to have a much better product, a product that's going to last longer, especially if it's very tooling intensive. Like
Mhm.
it, you know, it's gonna be worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's
Yes, but-
let's say hello to chat real quick. So we got bad moods in. What's up, B? Yep. And then we got the Alpha Peach. Peaches is a really awesome dude. Freaking fantastic leather worker as well. And like he just started his own business, and like he's very knowledgeable. Like Peaches, welcome back. And welcome everybody that's new here. Hello everybody. Also, thank you Peaches for the host. I did see that. We got so intense on that conversation. I was like, no, I want to keep going right now. But Peaches says, hand stitching is greater than machine. However, I don't want any customer walking away because they can't afford the hand stitch. That's understandable.
Take advantage.
Yeah. Like for me, I mean, I have a couple of machines, but I'm honestly just gonna get rid of them because I don't use them. If I ever actually invested in a machine, I'd probably invest in a Cobra, just because of the quality that the machines produce. Like, you know, you just can't beat a Cobra sewing machine when it comes to leather. It's really tough.
Sewing
But
machines scare me with all the fucking maintenance that they need, man. Especially the really big, expensive sewing machines
hmm
that like need to be maintained,
yeah,
or if something small happens with it, then you're shit out of luck, and then you have to take it to somebody that can service it. Like, just feels like a big problem. Like, the worst that can happen with me is I break a fucking stitching prong, and I just buy another one, you know.
yeah, exactly.
But for stepping up your production game, I'm gonna need to eventually start figuring out how to speed my game up somehow.
I mean, I would definitely recommend look into leather machine company, especially if you're gonna be serious about investing in a sewing machine. Just go for businesses, particularly. Go ahead, do your due diligence, research which one you'd want to get. But like as far as sewing machines, especially with leatherworking, Cobra and Leather Machine Company, they've got it on point, man. Like, and their customer service is fucking phenomenal. Like all their machines, like if anything goes wrong, they will fucking do what they can to help you fix it, or they'll have you send it back and they'll fix it for free.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're expensive though. You're dropping between like 2.5 to 5 grand on a sewing machine.
That's understandable. Nothing about leather machines.
Yeah, and they're huge. You need the room too. Like they're not small
Fucking
machines.
power source. That was the thing, is I had a like industrial sewing machine before, but it requires like the same type of plug that you use for like your fucking oven.
Just
And
that
I just
big
didn't have.
motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, nah, man. I tried to plug it into a normal plug-in, and it like shut the fucking house down. It's just good.
Yeah. So this is something I like asking a lot of folks. What was your favorite project to work on?
I think recently it was actually that wallet one, the fucking wolf one with the smoke coming out of his mouth.
Oh yeah.
Rock one. I think as of recently, that one, just because I took a lot of uh, I took a lot of risks with the design process and the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Like the smoke, I straight up freehanded the smoke out of the mouth. I wasn't sure how it was gonna come out. Ended up looking cool. All the like the silhouette fur, that was pre-drawn by Cindy Mater, but everything like on the inside layers, that I literally just carved it on the fly, and I was really fucking hoping it would like. I really hope I don't fuck this up, because this is not the time to fuck this up. Cool. So in terms of like a favorite, I really like that one because I took a lot of risks, and I really like how it came out. So I was having fun the entire time.
Oh,
But I
nice.
think a project that like that probably sticks in my mind the most is like the record breaker for the most ridiculous shit I've ever done before, which is, and I barely have any pictures on it, which is fucking the saddest part.
Oh no.
It was an axe handle I made. There was some guy from Texas sent me a fucking big ass 6 foot battle axe, and the dude wanted like just a wrap to go around it. It's basically a fucking strip of leather this wide, but 6 feet fucking long, that I would just stitch around and pull it up. The thing was, this dude had an insane budget for the project, which means that like I had to figure out how the hell can I cover this thing in artwork, but it's a handle. Like there's
Yeah.
not a lot of artwork that's front facing, and you're gonna see a lot. So I had to figure out how can I design a bunch of shit to fit on this small space. And dude, I spent a lot of time on the design process and all that, and then when it came down to tooling it, this thing was decked the fuck out, man. Like I ended up getting uh, a local blacksmith involved. One of the dudes from the Viking reenactment group. He made like a big ass spike pommel to go on the underside of the axe, and I got that installed on there. Um, the same guy that sent me the battle axe and ended up sending me like 2 grand worth of like just fucking knickknacks and silver pieces and shit like that. he sent me a wolf's face carving on like bone, but the whole thing was like in a silver inlay. He sent me a $700 piece to put on top of this thing. So like on top of
Damn.
fucking just the battle axe itself, it wasn't a lot. I think it was like a three, some shit like that. But it had like $2,000 worth of leather work, then like an additional $1,000 worth of just fucking knickknacks hanging off of it, and then like a $200 pommel on the bottom of it. It was like a $4,000 axe by the time I was done with it. It was just the most ridiculous looking shit. It was like something pulled out of a fucking fantasy video game, dude. It was absolutely nuts. The problem is it's 6 fucking feet, and it was really hard to do photography on. And my photography at the time sucked ass, dude. So like I have some pictures on it, but they are all terrible.
Damn, dude. That sounds like an intense ass project.
It was, man, and I was really like, I was really worried about fixing up the back to actually install it onto the axe. I was really worried. You know, sometimes you can like pull a lace too hard and you'll fucking tear the stitch or some shit.
Yeah.
If that happens, there's no fixing that. And I was really fucking worried, like, dude, if I tear a stitch, that's a lot of work. Like, I can't start this over. I'll have to like build additional straps to go onto the sides to like repair those fucking holes. Like, it was towards the end of it, it was very fucking high pressure because I was really worried about fucking it up. And I even slapped one of the things that he sent me. It's hard to explain, but it's like this pewter fucking dragon figure. It's like about this big, and he wanted this on there somehow, and it's massive. And I was like, dude, where the fuck am I gonna put this thing on this? So this is what I figured out. It has like it looks like it used to be that like a handle for a cup. So like it has a weird C shape.
Yeah.
It looked like it used to be the handle for a cup, and it was like pried off or something. So the wings, I decided to bend the wings back because it's pewter and it's very flexible, and so that I can put like I drilled holes, and so I can fucking. It was really cool how I did it because I can't go into the axe. There's nothing that'll hold it in.
Yeah.
I had to put rivets on the inside of the leather with the posts facing out, so that I can bend the wings, and the holes will line up onto the rivets. Then I can put caps on them and then smash them into the axe, so it'll be fused onto there. But the whole thing had to be like pre-planned and fucking engineered where everything would land before it got there, because there's no like taking the fucking leather off the axe once it's on there. So this big old silver fucking dragon figurine basically acted as an arm guard that I put at the very bottom end. So if this is the fucking the head of the axe, down here you would have this big old silver dragon that would guard your hand as you're holding it. So it was like a hand guard kind of thing.
Nice.
I figured out how to get it on there, but also to make it look cool and give it a function.
Yeah.
But the whole thing just looked ridiculous. Like, that dude's style is fucking insane. And that was another thing that I had to deal with, was this guy because he always orders something, and his orders are always ridiculous. The problem is his fucking style is like, the best way that I can describe it is the inside of a high schooler's locker. Just like fucking tons of shit, like all over the place. That's the fucking style. And that's what he wants. And as an artist and a designer, I want to find a way to make that look good and make it in the way that I want to present it. At the same time, this dude's like, here, throw this concho on there, throw this concho on there, here, put this over here. It's like, fuck, dude, that's just so much, man. Like, I wanted to be more tasteful with it, and this dude is just more. He ended up putting like another $700 worth of work onto this axe once it got back to him. So it has like, it's covered in beads, and it looks like something from a movie. It's fucking insane. And this dude even paid for next day shipping on like a 20-pound thing that goes into his. That's expensive, dude.
It's like $120 right there.
The fucking thing.
Jesus Christ, that's fucking insane.
It was a crazy project, man. It was an absolutely fucking wild project.
Would you say like that would be like one of your most challenging ones that you've done?
Definitely not challenging. It was hard at the time, but I feel like if I were to do that now, I'd have no fucking problems with it. It was only because of my like lack of experience that there were certain design things that like took me a while to figure out. how am I going to figure out the perfect placement for all this? And like, you dick around with it long enough and I can figure out, all right, if I make a template that's this shape and I put all these markings, I can just shift it around and like, figure out the perfect placement for everything. Now I know how to do that now. That was easy. But the most difficult for me, let me think. There's one that some other guy wanted like those Scottish sporran bags, the ones that they fucking wear on their belts.
Yeah.
That has like fox fur on it. He actually paid for an actual red fox pelt, which they're expensive, dude. It's like
Yeah, they're not
$300
cheap
for a fucking pelt. But I wanted to attach it by lacing it, so it has like cool fucking weaved lacing around the sides and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But lacing through fur is the most annoying shit, dude.
No,
Every
fuck that.
lace, you're pulling all sorts of hair with it, and it just took me forever. It was something that I thought was gonna take me like 40 minutes, and then ended up taking me like a day and a half. It was just so labor intensive.
Yeah, working with fur and leather, basically attaching hair on fur, it's a bitch. You can get some really cool fucking shit out of it. Really,
Yeah.
I've seen some really fucking fantastic pieces with hair-ons. But working with
Absolutely.
hair-on is a fucking bitch. And I say that as I'm about to do an armor set that is going to have sheep wool bordering.
Good luck.
I mean, don't get me
dude.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm super excited about it because this armor set's actually, I'm building it for myself as a prototype for another armor set that I'm going to be doing soon in the next year. But I'm just like, oh man, this is going to be fun. Though a buddy of mine who used to work for Airship Isabella, the steampunk leather workers, he taught me a really neat trick for lining stuff with fur, especially armor. Is you take a razor blade and you shave off an inch, and that's where you're stitching, that's where you're gluing.
Yeah, you basically have a bald seam.
Exactly. And I was like,
I
would
figured
never have
to do
thought
that, but it took me like an hour of struggling before I was like, wait, why don't I just cut off all this fucking hair here so I have a space to work with?
Exactly. And no, hair on is that is its own specialty, man. It's intensive work as well.
It's a lot harder to take care of too. It's just definitely if you're gonna order it, I always give a client the talk of are you ready to take care of it, because it's much more of a bigger deal to get fur on something.
Yeah, it's taking care of hair-ons is you can't take care of it the same way you take care of other leather goods. You have to take care of it a certain way, otherwise you're gonna cause the hair follicles to pop out and you're gonna get bald spots, which is a bitch.
Yeah, and there's good luck replacing that.
Yeah, you can't. So, what is something you would say to beginning leather workers? What's some advice that you would give to somebody that's an aspiring leather worker?
I've been posting on a friend of mine, I believe 5 months ago, taught me how to use Reddit. I'm a fucking caveman. I'm not a big fan of a lot of shit that's available on the internet. So he taught me how to use Reddit. He says, hey, you should probably start posting your shit. I get tons of feedback on fucking Reddit of my work, and I get a lot of questions from people starting off. And I always fucking tell them, before you go out and spend a shitload of fucking money on leather tools, check in with someone that knows what they're doing and see if that's what you need, because I've done it. Everyone I fucking know has done it. And I feel like if there's one thing that you can learn from us, is don't waste your money on shit you don't need. Because I have absolutely spent a lot of fucking money getting stuff that I thought that I needed and ended up not needing it, or you can find it somewhere way fucking cheaper somewhere else.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Fucking the big one is these fucking granite slabs. If you go to leather supply place like Tandy, they have them, but they're fucking expensive. You can just go to a tile place that sells fucking countertops or some shit and just ask for a scrap. Ask them for
Yeah.
like a big end that they don't need anymore, and they will. That's where I got this one, dude.
Yeah.
Big ass fucking granite slabs, and it's literally they're just like, oh, just take it off our hands, but we can't do anything with it.
Yeah, they'll give it away. And when you're working in a small space, getting those small ones from Tandy, like the 12 by 12, or like don't get the 6 by 6. They're not worth it. I mean, unless you're only doing like coasters, like get just the bare minimum you'd need is a 12 by 12. And like yeah, you're spending about like $40 on a 12 by 12 piece, but if you when you go to if you want a big piece, go into those tile places, the countertop places, and getting those scrap cutouts. It's a great way to do it. I mean, mine is a counter cutout that I got from when I was an electrician. Like they weren't going to use it, and it's a perfect fit for my station.
Mm-hmm. But also like hand tools, different knives and shit. Like ended up buying a lot of stuff fucking used, either because I found a better way around it, or I just never actually needed that tool. Like I have a round knife, and I never use it. Like for skiving, I use a French beveler, and then for cutting, I use this. I never intended on getting it, but this little guy here was made for me by a really good friend of mine, just another blacksmith that I've met on Instagram, and we work together. This little knife, dude, I've used this shit for everything. Like, I don't know if he knew this. I have a feeling he fucking, like, just saw, he's like, you know what, this would probably be useful for him, and he made it for me as a gift, but it is, like, the perfect fucking shape for so many leather things, dude.
Yeah. For me, like I use a utility knife for pretty much everything. I do have a head knife, but I actually use my head knife for trimming purposes. I don't really use it for cutting out shapes and stuff. Because the thing is with a head knife, for all you beginner leather workers out there, like a head knife or round knife as it's also called, like that is not a beginner tool.
Fuck no.
It takes a lot of getting used to. It has a multitude of purposes. It's a great multi-tool, but it is a bitch, and there's a huge handicap when you're working with it, because it's just like so intensive.
If you're making saddles, I've seen people use those to like skive ends. It's useful as fuck. But like if you're not making saddles, a saddle making tool isn't going to be useful for you. Yeah. Like, I got that shit because it was on sale and it looked cool, and every fucking leather crafter had one. I was like, let me try it, maybe help, out with some things I got to do. I found some uses for it, but it's like uses that I don't necessarily need all the time. So it just ends up being a tool that just gathers dust.
Yeah. And
it happens a lot. You would be surprised how much shit you can get away with just using a fucking box cutter,
Oh, yeah. I mean, and like, when it comes down to it, especially when you're beginning, like, you think about your project, think about what you're wanting to work on, because you're not going to need a head knife to make a wallet. You just need something a box cutter to cut it out, something to punch holes for your stitching, and what you're going to need to finish your edges. It's like you get
you can honestly do a lot of the shit that I do with just stuff laying around the house. You just have to know how to do it. That's the tricky thing, is like if I were to just tell you to make a wallet or something with tools laying around the house, if you don't know how to use them, again, you're back to every simple little thing takes fucking hours. Mm-hmm. It's just, if you learn, you make enough fucking wallets, it just becomes so like, oh yeah, I can sharpen that butter knife, I'll use that.
Yeah. Though something that I've started getting into is using scalpel blades. Like, I've actually really started to get I've started to realize I like using the scalpel blades.
Really?
Yeah, I actually use them mostly for when I'm cutting out patterns. Like,
Oh, I
and
can see where that can come in handy. Those really, really, really fine, detailed cuts.
yeah, like they work great for them. I mean,
That's why I
other
like
than
this guy. This dude is like almost scalpel shaped for me.
nice.
This I'm telling you because it's I guess this is called a kiridashi and it's a very specific blade shape.
Yeah,
But the actual business end is super straight, which means that I can like lay this motherfucker down and just push, and it is like by default will go ultra straight. Like I don't even need a ruler to run this with or anything. All I got to do is push it forward, and it by itself just goes very, very straight.
it's just the nature of the blade.
It's the nature of the blade. So like a lot of times, like when cutting out like interiors or something for the straight cuts that are really small, I don't even have to drag. This blade is long enough. I just push down with it, and it just makes a perfect chop.
Nice.
So this thing is it's got a million uses, but the one thing that I like about it is, let me see if I can show you what the front very, very tip looks like. It's kind of hard to see. It's like a perfect 90 degrees right at the business end.
Oh, okay.
So it means that the actual part that touches material is like a very, very pointy end. So I can hold this blade up at like a really high angle and make super fucking tight little turns and shit with this thing.
Nice.
It just happened to be like the perfect tool for my purposes, man. I don't,
Yeah.
like I said, there's no way you could have like known that it would be that perfect, but it's just, it was an awesome gift, man. I've been using it several times a day ever since I got it years ago.
Hmm. Yeah, for me, like I gotta like my most used tool, and I like everybody knows this is my scratch awl. Like this little guy is probably my most used tool, and I will definitely cry the day it breaks or gets lost. Like this is my favorite fucking tool, and I got it as a gift. Like a buddy of mine bought me this. Like it was when I first started leatherworking. He bought me this bandolier that he got from a Renaissance festival with all these old tools that they just threw on there, which most of the tools were like broken or completely dull. They were useless tools except for this guy. This is the one thing that I've kept from it. And like, I actually want to kind of get somebody to because the way I use it, like the ball is like right here. I kind of want to get some like either Clay Miller or somebody to create like a scalpel set that has this the exact way this is, because it's so comfortable to use. At least the way I hold it. I like, probably not comfortable for anybody else but me.
Yeah, well, you've gotten so much practice in with that thing. I'm sure that it's just like you're like tuned into that shape.
Exactly. And it's it's just like that golden rule. Like you ask 5 leather workers one question, you're gonna get like 12 answers. Everybody's gonna have a different way of doing things. Everybody's gonna
completely different. That's the thing, is like there's no formal way to learn leather crafting.
Yeah.
And even me, dude, like I don't know a lot of words to shit. It's because I don't fucking talk about leather crafting with my friends or anything like that. I have leather crafting friends, but we don't like necessarily talk about that shit all the time. Like I have a leather crafting friend that lives like down the street from me, and we've done shows together and all that shit. We don't fucking do leather together. We play board games and shit like that. So it's just when it comes time to actually talk about leather shit, I don't actually have words for a lot of things. Like I don't know the proper words for a lot of shit.
Yeah. And that's actually something I've gotten pretty good about, like interpreting, because like I'll have folks come in and they'll be like, I'm looking for a tool, it does this. I don't know what it's exactly called or anything. They'll start describing what it does, and I'm like, I know exactly what you need.
I hate when you get the fucking wise asses when you're describing, like, I need something that like takes the corner of, oh, you're looking for like a beveler, like what's it do? It bevels, like motherfucker, like. There was a guy, man, he's like notorious. He fucking worked at the local Tandy here. Don't get me wrong, the dude knew what he was talking about. He's like used to work as a solo artist, and his shit is next level. But it absolutely gets to his head, and he's a fucking pretentious dick. Ended up
Yep.
getting fired from Tandy. Went to go work at the Indian store, that place I was mentioning earlier. Same fucking problem there, dude. Attitude problem. Got fired from that place.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
And that's, that's something that like I've come across a lot is just those old, like I call them the old guards, where they're like, they're just so set in their ways, and they're like, no, this way is the right way,
Yeah.
this way is the only way. I'm like, dude, you need to get off your fucking high horse and
Yeah, like there are other people that make cooler shit than you, and they do different fucking methods. Like,
yeah.
there's no one method, man. There really isn't.
Yeah, which is one thing I love about the leather crafting community of Twitch. Like, none of us have that pretense. All of us are supportive. All of us are very willing to listen and like talk to people about like what we do, how we do it. Because like when you're streaming, you can't hide what you're doing. Like it's right there in front of people. And like if you ever start streaming, dude, you'll love the community on Twitch.
Here for it, man. I just gotta figure out how I want to get all the kinks worked out, all the logistic bullshit of getting the fucking links and all this fancy shit set up. But I mean, I got the fucking microphone, I got the camera, I got the program.
Yeah.
I think I just need to work with better camera angles and shit. Like, I'm almost there. I promise, I'm almost.
A big thing to also, just to kind of give you a little bit of a tip, is lighting. Like so with your camera and camera angles, like you can have that perfect angle, but if your lighting is off, your camera is gonna freak out. So
Yeah.
definitely.
Right now, I'm bleached out because I have 4 sunroofs in this room, and it is blinding in here all the time. Obviously, instead of just not at night. But that is one thing that I'm constantly battling with at least videography, is the fucking lighting in this room because it's so bright in here.
Yeah, well, if you ever need any like tips on that, like lighting is my thing, dude. Like I love tinkering with lighting, and one of my next investments, which should be happening soon for my stream, is getting a couple of professional lighting, so that way, like, because I'm working, I love this bench light. It's fucking phenomenal for when I'm working, but for on stream, it is not the greatest light in the world. My face looks fucking like fucking banshee. Like the lighting, like because I'm working on a white granite, like just bounces off of it and fucks with the camera. So like I want to invest. I'm going to be investing in some good quality lights that I'm going to be able to really control whether it's daylight or if it's natural lighting, and like the intensity of it. Because you can do so much with a camera, a webcam like a C920, if you can get your lighting on point. Like your lighting makes.
And like how we discussed last week at Bad Moods video, that the one thing, like, people love my photography, and it's like, dude, I got like a 1-hour crash course with a photographer, and the one thing that I fucking learned is you can make your phone an amazing camera if you know how to fuck with the settings and if you have good lighting.
Exactly.
But everything is down to good lighting. Like if you don't have good lighting, you can kind of fix shit post-production and try to like tweak things to make them look better, but everything starts off with good lighting.
Yeah, especially when you're doing videography or streaming. Like your lighting, you especially streaming, because you're live. Like there are certain settings you can go into Streamlabs and adjust certain settings in your camera to help do some color correction and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, like if you have shitty lighting, your camera's gonna look that way.
Definitely something to point out for other crafters that are gonna try to do this as a job is make sure you're taking good fucking pictures, dude. Because
oh god, yeah,
shitty pictures will make something that normally looks really cool in person make it look really fucking crap, like when you're posting it online. And vice versa. There are, like, I don't want to mention anyone, but there are fucking people that I follow that their stuff really isn't that technical or crazy. It is very much like rudimentary work. It's definitely something that like an average person can make on their first try. But dude, their fucking photography is so bomb that it makes it look really cool. And like I've had friends that actually buy this shit, and it gets to them and it's like, dude, this is all it is. Like, you can make this in like 10 seconds. And it's like, yeah, but the fucking photography sold you, right? Like, it looks cool, modeled
Yeah.
shot, and
It's how you present it. Sometimes you just you present it in that right way, and boom, fucking perfect.
yeah.
And that's a big
It's
reason
like,
why I haven't been taking a lot of photos lately. Is because I don't have a good way to take these photos right now, and I'm just like
for big things like uh, form form fitted armor pieces or any shit like that, that's always tricky. Just because your lighting situation, it's like, well, getting a small little light box situated for lighting, that's easy. It takes up not that much space. You don't need that much light, and you can get the job done. But with like a whole fucking room, that's way harder. You need way more light. There's light you need to worry about, like coming in from windows and shit. That
Yep.
it's a lot harder to set that up.
absolutely.
So big things are definitely a lot harder to fucking take pictures of. But if you, I don't know if you ever checked out that link that I sent you.
I did.
With-
I actually have it saved. I just need to get the finances to get it. It's cheap,
dude,
but I'm broke.
The amount of fucking value, dude, is it? I left a comment on there like, I don't know how the fuck they're selling it. Like, there are probably little kids in China that are getting abused to fucking assemble these things, because like there are dudes that are selling. The only reason why I got it was I saw an ad for a light box that's like, with quick, easy to pop up. It's got lights and shit inside of it. It's got backgrounds, and it was like $60, and I was like, oh, that probably helped my photography a lot. And I was like, hold on, before I buy this for $60, let me check on Amazon. Let me see what one of these things normally costs. I ended up finding that one that's literally half the fucking price. It's bigger. It comes with lights, like several lights and light filters and a whole bunch of background. It has like everything and more, and it's cheaper. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Nice.
But your photography it is shocking how fucking good it'll make your shit look, dude.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, like, freaking do it. Like, I actually am working with a local photographer and model, Luna LaFay. I sent her some of my products, and she's working on taking some professional photos of, like, her modeling some of the stuff, as well as taking some professional product photos, and those are just for promotional use, like. But sometimes you gotta invest in it.
Yeah. I have it's mostly friends that do photography that are totally willing to, like, I'm not a big fan of photography days, dude. Whenever I have a big project that's finished up that needs like modeled shots, set up somebody to come down and model it, and then I'll have photographers take pictures. But it's like, it's not quick, man.
No,
That shit takes like a whole day. And I am not a big fan of that type of work. It just feels so tedious. Like, don't we have enough pictures? Are we done now? Like, no, we're not. We got like 7 more fucking angles to do. Like, it's I'm not a big fan of photography. That's whenever I try to do like product shots, I always try to line up like 5 or 6 different things to get done at the same time, so that I'll do all the setup and all that bullshit of setting up all the lighting, setting up all the fucking props and all that, but I can get a whole bunch done at one time, so I have a bunch of pictures to, like, a little reservoir to feed off of.
Yeah.
Just because I don't like doing photography all the time.
Yeah.
Actually, this one's done. I have this one, another wallet, and 2 bracers that are already ready for photography. I tooled this one on Tooling Tuesday a while ago, but this is something that I've been making with Centimeter's artwork.
Nice.
And I still need to install some conchos in the back, but where those rivets are on the side, there's going to be big old conchos there instead.
Oh, cool. Hell yeah, dude.
I feel like Mjolnir bracers, Thor's hammer, are like, they're sellers, dude. That's just something everybody fucking wants. And I've been avoiding making like what I feel as like sellout projects, like just junk that I know is gonna sell, that as an artist I don't necessarily want to do, but it's just like, as a business owner, I need to start doing that shit.
Yeah,
like, there's compromises you gotta make. Like, if you want to do this for a fucking living, you gotta dip your toes into that shit too.
And that's something I was talking with somebody I worked with back in Austin. Like, he's not an artist. He's a business guy, and that's what he does. and like his leather work is like you said earlier, it's rudimentary stuff anybody can do and learn how to do, but he's got that business mindset of like, I'm gonna sell the stuff that people will buy, that are tried and true. Like he has a lot of Milner stuff. He does a lot of Celtic shows and stuff like that. And he, his stuff is real simple, but they fucking sell like hotcakes.
It's so funny. I remember meeting this one lady at there's this big fair happens in the San Diego area. If you're from this area, you know what Del Mar is. Just a big it's a horse race grounds. It's a big spot. They got big buildings and shit like that, but there's always some type of event or festival or market or some shit popping up there. And there's this fucking lady that popped up tent there, and all she sells is like customized like dog. They're not collars. They're like almost like little dog tags, like tiny little trinkets that you put onto your pet's collar or some shit. She only charges like $3 for $5. They're literally worth like less than $1. But this lady and her husband make like $200,000 a year selling. Yeah.
God damn. Yeah.
Business and marketing is a different fucking beat.
And like for me, my plan is in a year and a half, basically step away from the job I'm doing now and do this full time. Basically be my own boss, run my business the way I want to run it, and do this, go full time. And something I've been thinking about lately is like, as much as like I want to, I'm an artist and I want to basically, make some cool fucking shit. I do have to like find those things that I'm willing to just pump out for product, because that's realistically, that's gonna pay the bills a lot of the times. Is
more often than not, that's the shit that makes the money. And
exactly.
As somebody who has done this full time for years and has gotten into like doing shows where part of my life was, I'm not going to do custom orders for a month, for an entire month. I'm literally just cranking out product in order to have enough shit to sell at a show.
Yeah.
You gotta find a fucking happy middle ground, dude, because
exactly
doing nothing but slave work makes you not want to do this anymore. However, not making enough money because you only want to do shit also makes you not want to do this anymore, because it's just a constant struggle. So
yeah,
you gotta have this nice happy middle ground where you're doing the stuff that fulfills you as an artist, but also pays the fucking bills.
Exactly. And I mean, especially when it comes to leatherworking, sometimes you just gotta make a shit ton of belts, just like simple belts that you can sell for $40-$50, maybe some fancy ones for like $80 to $100. But if you hit your market right, that's what's going to pay your bills. That's what's going to pay your product, pay for food in your belly. And I mean, make sure that you can live the way you want to.
Exactly. And speaking of which, and honestly, if that doesn't appeal to you, at some point your business will get to the point where you can employ other people and they can worry about cranking shit like that out, and you can focus on the stuff you like to focus on. While I was doing shows, that's what it was like. I had like 5 people that came in to help me with mass production. It's basically, you don't have to be super skilled. It's like, all right, you're gonna use this stencil, you're gonna trace this bullshit out, and then you're gonna punch these holes on 50 different fucking blanks. Like that's what you're doing for the day. So you can train someone to do that in just a couple minutes. You don't have to be super skilled to do that. I would basically do all the things that require me to do them, and then I have other people help me with the mass production line.
Yeah.
So it's really possible for you to create an engine that can employ other people to do that, so you can focus on what you to do. I just want to be very upfront in that you better be making a certain amount of money before you can step into paying other people.
Oh yeah, like the first thing I'm going to invest in, as like whenever I get to a point to hire somebody, is a social media manager.
Yes.
Like
that's what
fuck that shit. I don't want to do it.
It is expensive, man.
Yeah.
but it is key. Those motherfuckers will make you money, man.
Exactly. And I'd rather, and that's an investment. That is an investment into your business. When you're hiring somebody, especially when you're running your own business and like everything comes down on you, like you have to make smart decisions for your business that's going to benefit. And for me, I know a social media manager is going to be that investment, like just getting somebody to do it for me.
It's direct translation to sales, man. It's like you can buy a new sewing machine, you fucking clicker die, you can buy new fucking stamp tools. Those will not translate to sales. Getting a literal fucking salesperson, getting somebody that will make your posts popular to be seen by tons of people, that is a direct sale translation.
Yep.
Like, I've had the posts that I put a lot of work into to actually figure out who the fuck am I targeting, and then actually putting money behind it with some ad money. That makes money, dude. That translates to sales, and that's the stuff that like you as it's so shitty, but as a crafter, you really need to focus on that. And it's for most of us, none of us want to do that shit. It's a whole job that sucks.
Yeah, and for me, like I say this all the time, like I am not a tech person, never have been. Like there's certain aspects, like I've really gotten into the streaming aspect and like digging a little bit more deeper into that. But I describe myself as like Harry Dresden. I touch technology and it freaks the fuck out. Just like magic and technology doesn't work. So, real quick, go ahead.
Like, as technology absolutely is magic. Like, when I get into my conversations of particle physics and how the behavior of electrons and really what our reality boils down to, shit makes sense and no sense at the same motherfucking time. Like, the fact that computers work and they run, it is straight up fucking alchemy, dude. Like, I watched a video on how fucking microprocessors are made. That shit is magic, man.
It's like you see the two components go together, and you're like, how does that fit? How does that function? What? Witchcraft.
It's awesome, dude. I fucking love it. I love a big part of chemistry is learning how to use different machines, right? Like you got to test different fucking things, and so the first couple years, it's literally you're doing it yourself. You got like a thermometer or some weird barometer or some type of device that you're sticking it into whatever the fuck you're testing, and you run a bunch of math and then say measure things. But after a while, it turns into you got to run it into a machine, and this machine, what it's measuring is, it's hard to explain, but you got like a big molecule that in reality kind of looks like a glob, and it's going to hit it with a big laser, and all like the hydrogen, all the atoms that are on the very exterior, they're all going to kind of like get pushed back by this laser and kind of jiggle a little bit. This machine is going to measure that jiggle. Like, why? Like, it tells you a lot about the fucking compound, but like the way that it works, it's like you got to learn how these things work, otherwise it's not going to make sense to you. It's like, all right, it's going to turn whatever the fuck you're putting into a gas. It does that by heating it up, but then it runs a current through it to make sure that all the gas particles are like evenly spaced or some shit. Then it's going to hit it with the fucking infrared laser at this frequency and all that. It's like, who figured this shit out, dude? Like, it's just fucking wild.
Just to measure the jiggle.
Yeah, just just focusing on the jiggle. Then it spits out this fucking Richter scale ass looking graph, and you have to learn how to read that shit. And it's just, technology and science is motherfucking magic, dude. Coming from somebody who studies that shit is fucking magic.
That's fucking hilarious. That is like one of the best explanations of technology I've ever fucking heard.
The way that engineers have figured out how to measure shit is fucking wild, dude. Like the way that we measure gravitational waves, the way that we measure distances between stars, the ways that we measure like magnetism, but also like there's no fucking machine that you can just plug. I don't know, you got some white dust or some shit. You can't just plug it into a machine. The machine's gonna be like, oh, this is the stuff you're dealing with. it'll give you a big old nasty graph, and you have to just like stare at this motherfucker and boil it down to, all right, it can be 16 of these different things. Then you run another test that boils it down like, all right, these 4 definitely not it. Now we got 12 more options. It can be these. You basically just keep fucking with it over and over. That's how you figure out. That's how you do a qualitative analysis, and it's not simple. Like, I don't know how all those this research into like modern day shit, like everything that I've dealt with is essentially stuff that they did in the 40s. Like all the stuff now is so fucking complicated, man. Just to measure the most mundane shit.
That's fucking awesome. Like, it's fucking crazy. So, just so everybody in chat knows, if you have any questions for Brandon of Swift Hammer, let us put them in chat, and here in a bit we'll go ahead and ask them. But one thing that like I also think is really important for like, you know, running a small business too, is like people sometimes don't give credit to, you know, taking the time to network. Like, networking is super important. I mean, look at you, for example. You had that incredible you've seen such incredible success at this Viking festival because you somehow you networked.
Yeah, that would have never fucking happened if I didn't talk to like all your growth, all your big pushes forward, that's all done with other people, dude. You that rarely ever happens in a vacuum where it was just a thing you did. Never, man. All your big major growth is collaborating and networking. The way that I did my first show at the Viking Festival, but from there I bumped into another dude that was a customer. Now he's like a really good friend of mine, but he's like my #1 fan. That guy invited me to my next 4 shows. He was running those biker shows out in the middle of fucking nowhere. That's how I got to those. You go to those, you get networks to other shows and other things and other people to talk to. And it's also like, you know, online where you just, there's someone that you like on Instagram, you like their shit. Dude, it's as simple as fucking reach out to this person and just say, hey, dude, I love your work. I've been following you for fucking however long. It'd be really cool if we can figure out a way to work together. I know, like, I don't know, say like at the time, I don't have a big following, but this would be a really cool fucking way for you to get into getting your work onto leather, which is a big fucking community. Because the second you get into leather, it becomes a practical, useful thing. Yes. So like, especially with that chick Cindy Mater that I'm working with, that I've been using her artwork, is she's an illustrator. She draws things. The problem is that she has a hard time, like, it's hard to sell just drawings. It's a very specific thing. Like, people use them for shit, but they're using it for stuff that makes them money and not necessarily stuff that makes you money. Yeah. So I basically worked it out with her that I can use your artwork to make stuff out of, and every time they sell, like, you get a slice of whatever I make. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the only reason why we fucking work together is because her Art of the Axe, which is another fucking talent Viking artist, we all play PlayStation with each other. So we just fucking we're always texting and fucking dicking around and shit like that.
Nice.
That's honestly the reason why I was up so late. I was fucking up playing For Honor with her last night.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've actually been branching out and doing, is working with other artists. That's actually a big reason why I started this podcast, is because I wanted to get to know other artists. I wanted to, you know, pick their brains and, you know, just talk shop with them. And like, because of it, I'm learning so like different ways of looking at how to run a business. I'm looking at like different different avenues that I can take. And one of the things I started doing is I started just reaching out to other artists and being like, hey, I want to pay you so that way I can showcase your artwork and also have something that I can use to, you know, advance myself and make cooler shit. And
it's really smart, dude. What you're doing here with running a podcast with others, it's honestly perspective, it's a really smart move, because you're getting connections. Now fuck, man, now I can call you a friend, and now if you ever need help with anything,
hell yeah,
but it's
man.
also like, we can use each other to help networking, but also like dual promoting. Like, you post something and I post something at the same time, it generates more interest, and that The second the algorithm sees that, if the algorithm sees, holy shit, this weird random ass post is getting a shitload of attention because
Mhm.
both of us are fucking putting effort into it, it boosts that post. Like, there's a lot of shit you got to learn as a fucking as a social marketing agent if you're gonna do it yourself, of how algorithms work. And a big
Yep.
part of that is getting more than one person to put effort into the same thing, because the
Yeah.
algorithm likes that shit, and it's just
Yeah.
more stuff you got to worry about.
And I mean, as much as like I do benefit from doing the podcast, like it's also the other way around, because I'm showcasing y'all. Like, the podcast is actually not about me. It's about like what you guys do, showcasing your artwork and getting people to see it and go support you guys. Yeah, I do benefit from, like, getting to chat with you guys, learning new stuff, learning different ways of thinking, and but like it's a mutual beneficial thing, which I thought, like, and I wasn't seeing anybody do it.
We got a question in the chat that says, "What's the most challenging project you ever had to work on?"
Well, that would have been we kind of touched on it earlier. You did a little bit.
That was just the part that drove me nuts. But I think one that definitely pushed me was I did a like a table. It's really weird how this project came about. Somebody from Tandy, I literally bumped. She was like looking to buy just a fucking square piece of leather to replace like an insert on her coffee table. And every time the ladies at Tandy are so sweet, dude. They think I'm like the coolest. And every time somebody's in there with a question, they're like, "Dude, ask him, because he's gonna be the one to fucking help you." So they referred it over to me, and I basically told her, because they were trying to get her to buy a finished leather, and she's like, "Oh, but that's not the same color as the one that I have." They're like, "Oh, okay, you can gel." And I was like, "Dude, you can't use antique gel on finished leather. It's just not gonna take." So like, basically helped her out. I told her, "Hey, dude, you can't buy a square of leather here. Like, they only sell them in either tiny little pieces or a big ass fucking roll.
Yeah.
And even then, you have to know how to cut it out yourself and all that bullshit. If you want to swing by my place, I can cut you out. Bring by the table so I can make some measurements, and I'll cut it out and I'll install it myself. It'll take 5 minutes if you don't want anything on it. It's just a piece of fucking leather."
Yeah.
She ended up coming over and explaining to me that she she's one of those people that goes to auctions that are selling all the bullshit inside of like storage units, and they get all like a bunch of furniture that's inside, and then they deck out all this antique furniture and then resell it. And that she has this old fucking leather coffee table, and that she wants to get it swapped out. And it's just like, "So what do you do?" And I was like, "Well, you've got two options. I can either make the replacement, which would be very simple. It's going to be like literally just $40 in materials, and it'll take a minute for me to just cut out a square and stick it in there. Or if you want, I can go absolutely fucking bonkers and tool this thing to high heaven, and also make like additional parts around the side and all that bullshit." It's really whatever you want. Like, there's no limit. And
Yeah.
for anybody that says, "I don't have a budget," you got a budget, motherfucker. You just don't think I can hit it. So this lady, she's like, "Hold on, let me talk with my husband, and let's see what we can do." And she came back to me. She's like, "I want this to be crazy." It went from, "I just want a simple ass blank square," to, "Let's make this one absolutely batshit so that we can offer something in our store that is just like a fucking art piece." I was like, "Cool." She left the table at my place, and I made like templates for parts to go around like the sides of the legs and also the countertop. And being able to, it definitely pushed me to, because normally everything that I make templates for is on flat surfaces, and having to create a template based off of something that I'm measuring in dimension was definitely a learning experience for me to figure out how to get everything to fit with each other.
Yeah.
Because there's like antique bolts and shit on top of this table, so I had to make the design that goes around these bolts and that's very complementing and shit. So it was definitely something I've never fucking done. And you wouldn't be able to tell, but this table was absolutely handmade, and there's like, imperfections in it where it's like asymmetrical. So like, it might look like a square, but it's not a perfect square. So once I realized that, I had to figure out, how the fuck am I going to make a template that works for all these pieces, but also how am I going to make it look symmetrical? Because like, it'd be really fucking weird to have, the second you try to slap a perfect square onto a surface that is not, it's going to stick out. So I had to figure out a way to actually hide that. the best way that I can describe it is I made the square that goes into the insert smaller than it needed to be, so that there's like a gap, a straight up missing gap. But then I put another thing on top of that gap and completely went around it and encased it, so you can't even tell that it's not perfectly square. I made it perfectly square. And so it was really fucking tricky because a lot of this, I'm so nitpicky about planning every fucking hole and knowing where everything is going to go. So I literally just fit it in and it's perfect and everything meets with each other.
Yeah.
This was not like that. This was something that I just had to like fucking lay it down and stare at it for a bit. Like, fuck, dude, I just have to eyeball it and make sure it looks good eyeballed.
Yeah.
But all the panels that I put on it were fucking tooled as shit, dude. I made 4 panels for the legs that were just straight up filigree, like hardcore ass filigree tooling.
Oh wow.
And yeah, everything. It's like a fucking $3,000 table, dude.
Damn, that sounds fucking cool as shit. Do you have this on your Instagram?
Yeah, I have them. They're honestly, I believe we ended up taking like 600 shots of this fucking table. Like we had to.
Holy shit.
We've never done photography for a piece of furniture before. I mean, we had to prepare a whole room for this. The good news is that I have that same fucking leather friend that I tell you that lives right down the street. She has a really nice, like, her fucking husband's a very, very well paid programmer, and she is a paramedic, and they make some good fucking money. So she has a really nice fancy house, but she's also like super into like steampunk shit. She's a steampunk vendor.
Oh, cool.
So it was really easy to just grab a bunch of fancy. She has literally an empty guest room, so we just emptied it out. She has like a $800 photography set. It just looks like, you know, those big bags that carry like tents, like a tent pop-up. It looks like that, but when you pop it out, it's like 4 giant fucking lamps with like the light bulb is like, shit you not, like that big. Tons of filters, a whole bunch. It's a photography kit. Like, it's so fucking cool. We use that entire thing, and like she has like reindeer furs and shit sitting around the house. I went around her house and grabbed all the fanciest shit that I could find and just pushed it all into one fucking room and just made it look really fucking nice in there. And so we spent the whole day doing photography. So we have like 600 shots of this. I ended up only posting maybe like 5 pictures of it though.
Yeah.
Like, I was really...
Looks like Kate Childer Proteus might have found it. Let's take a look.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep. Thank you, Fish Daddy. Wow, dude. Yeah, that's my best friend Kate. Happy birthday, Kate, by the way.
The basket weave on that fucking tabletop, dude, I did not realize. I know it now, and I know how to avoid this problem now, but go back to the shot where it's top facing. All right. So I started off on one corner and worked that basket weave to the other side. The problem is, by the time you fucking get like all the way to the other side of the circle, you better have made sure that your stamping is perfect. Otherwise, those weave patterns won't line up. I realized that halfway through the circle, like, oh my fucking god, once I meet up to the other side, everything has to be perfect or they're not gonna line up. So it meant that every single line I had to like lay down with a ruler to make sure that everything was perfect. Now that I know, don't start from one corner to the other. Start from the exact center and work your way out from there.
Yeah, especially with basket weaves. Yeah, no, basket weaves are a bitch. Oh,
I feel like
go ahead.
If a basket weave is in a small enough spot, I can seriously just wing it. But yeah, the second that it's taking up a lot of space, you better measure that shit out, because after a while it'll start to stray and then you're just gonna be fucking pulling your hair out.
Yep. Pax had a really cool question. Which complementary trade would you love to branch out into to support your leatherworking, if any?
Woodcrafting. Easy.
Yeah.
I would love to get into, specifically because, for one, to make leather shit, I mean, like wooden little boxes and shit like that I can inlay with leather, because that's an easy answer. But you can, one of the guys that I've worked with, Redbeard Leather, that dude, one of the various things he's at is he knows woodshop shit, so he can make his own fucking tools and he can make his own rigs and shit like that to help him with like bag production. Like, the dude can make his own stitching horse, you know, like he doesn't he doesn't need to go out and get shit made. You can make so much stuff to just help you with your own job,
Yeah.
and I think that would absolutely help.
Yeah, that's something I've done a little bit of woodworking. You can actually find deep down in the pits of my Instagram. I built a prop coffin out of scrap wood, and that was one of the funner projects that I've done. Bigger projects that I've done. I did it for a prop for a vampire ball down in New Orleans, and like that's still one of the coolest woodworking projects I've ever done. But I haven't really
Did
done
you like
a whole
drag this fucking coffin around?
it. So I had a buddy of mine fucking actually I built the coffin, and then it was so funny. Like he drove to New Orleans, which actually, thinking about it now, it's Louisiana. No one's gonna bat an eyelash at a coffin in the back of somebody's fucking car. So, but yeah, they fucking I actually built like a platform for this thing, so that way you could lean it, and you could take photos in it.
Oh, that's cool, dude.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it was definitely a learning experience because I've built coffins before, but they were functional coffins and are actually in the ground. This was my first prop coffin, just for picture purpose. Yeah, and that was a whole new experience for me. Oh yeah, I think she. God, I fucking love you, Kate. You're so fucking awesome. This
on it, man.
Yeah, this
MVP.
is it.
That's fucking cool. You made that out of scrap? That's badass.
Yeah, this was out of scrap
Did you
sheet
stain it
board.
like that, or was it like that already?
No, I stained it like that.
Oh, dude, that shit looks so good, man. I can see that in like a fucking western.
This is the front panel, the lid,
That's cool.
That cross that's on the lid. I actually got from a restaurant that I worked at. They had taken over this space, and the previous owners were very, very Catholic and had a bunch of these crazy crosses.
Like fucking vampire hunters or what?
Well, it's Louisiana. Catholicism is super strong. But they had this piece, and I was like, this would be so fucking cool on the lid. And the woman who commissioned me for it, her colors are are black and purple. So I actually painted that purple along the edge.
That's cool, man. That's a really cool project.
Anybody want coffins? I love building coffins. Coffins are actually one of my favorite things to build. So,
Weird thing to be good at.
I mean, I have 2 coffins in the ground. So,
yeah, my mom's an embalmer, so we got picked up at school before, in a fucking hearse.
Nice.
And that definitely gets some weird looks, man.
But yeah, no, I would definitely say probably woodworking. Get more into woodworking would definitely be another skill I'd like to get into.
I definitely want to get better with airbrushing.
Oh yeah.
Because airbrushing is not something that is obvious. A lot of it shit is just techniques that have to be learned and practiced. But also color theory shit is it's not obvious. It's not I need green, let me put green down. It's no, dude, for most things you put down and then you turn it green with blue, and then you put red to add shadow. It's just not fucking obvious. You gotta know fucking airbrushing techniques, and that's something that needs practice, and I really wish I was better at airbrushing.
That's definitely something I want to tinker with as well. I've never really played with airbrushing, so I don't know a lot about it, but it's something I really want to tinker with because you can create such cool fucking effects, especially on leather. And
I don't have a ton of experience, but when you do get one and want to get into it, definitely hit me up because there's some shit you need to know. It's not, a lot of it's not obvious. The airbrushing on that wallet right there, that wolf one, I'm so fucking happy with how it came out, dude, because getting gray on leather is not always easy. It's really easy to fucking make it just look black.
Yeah.
So the way that I pulled that gray off, the way that I pulled that red off, airbrushing tricks, and I was really happy with how it came out, dude. I'm so proud of that. It's not common that I'm super proud of my own work, and a lot of the times, like I only post like 10% of the shit that I make. And that wolf one was, I was so excited to post that one. Like, I was so happy with it.
Yeah. Nah, it turned out fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah,
Well,
the guy that ordered it lost his fucking mind.
hell yeah, man.
He's one of the cool dudes that just hits me up and says, "Hey, I have money. Do whatever the fuck you want. I'll pay you for it."
Oh, that's Kate. Kate's the one
Yeah.
that's commissioning the it's called Narwhal armor because she does her own comic, and one of the characters is this humanoid narwhal, and they're basically warriors, and she commissioned me to do this. Well, I when she first created this character, I was like, I want to build that armor. Like, I just wanted to build the armor. And then she decided to commission me for 2 sets of it. One of them, like, is for me because she has two characters that are twins, and basically she's my fucking twin from another mother. And like, I'm super excited to build it. It's the one that's got the fur lining in it, and I also have stingray inlay in this bitch.
That's badass. Dude.
Yeah,
Everyone,
super
Stingray.
excited.
Stinger's so fucking.
It's a bitch to work with, though.
Yeah, I was told just be patient with it and just make sure you're stitching if you're going to be stitching through it. Just be careful. You don't. I mean, this shit's expensive. You don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I have to be super careful because my German Shepherd decided that he likes the taste of the stingray leather, and every time I have it on a low table, he snatches it.
That's an accident waiting to happen, man.
Trust me, like, I caught him last night with one, and I was like, I'm going to, like, put you in that kennel forever, dog, if you do not quit trying to eat my stingray.
What's your biggest leather crafting oopsie?
Biggest leather crafting oopsie. I've made so many mistakes, dude. Like, my biggest thing is, like, you know, when I tell people don't be afraid to make mistakes, that's what I do. I literally do mistakes on purpose to see what I can learn from them.
Yeah.
What would be yours? I gotta think on mine.
There's one that I can think of that was like, I'll never fucking make this mistake again. Like, it just, dude, I was so butthurt when I did this. So it was like my first year of crafting. As part of, like, a lot of what I was doing was tons of shit because I had intended on going to shows, and you just need a full fucking tent to sell shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I made I should think I have one. No, I don't. Is this wallet template, this little compact wallets that I sell, it was like the prototype of this wallet. I cranked out like 40 of these. They're simple. They had like fucking simple ass border designs on them. And I made about 40 of them, and when they were all finished, this was like literally they're all stitched up, all ready to go. I realized that when I put a card into the top slot, the card peeks out like a quarter inch. Fuck! Like, I fucked up the math and I didn't account for that. And it's just some technicality because of like where I use rivets to put the slots on the inside.
Yeah.
And I didn't account for the rivet being up like a quarter inch, and just small little bullshit like that. Now I fucking know, but lesson learned was, don't fucking make 40 of the same thing if you have not made a prototype first.
Yeah.
Make a prototype first, make sure it's solid, then make 40 of them.
That's why I'm working on my narwhal armor set first, because it's the prototype, so that way when I make Kate's, hers is nice and fucking perfect.
Yeah, dude, that's I fucking learned my lesson hard.
Yeah.
Pete just asks, do I have a commission I regret accepting? Yeah, a lot of them actually. Like, there's a couple that come to mind. So most of them are just like, they were a lot harder than I expected, and they were not as high paying as I thought. And honestly, it just like wasn't worth the hassle. I fucking got it done. Wasn't excited about it, but I got it done. But There is one that comes to mind. I don't have a lot of bad customers. I've had, in the entire fucking 5 years I've been doing this, I've had 2 bad customers. That's it. I've heard some motherfucking horror stories from some people. I've like been at Redbeard's shop when he gets calls from people bitching about shit, and it's like the dumbest stuff. You only get people complaining like this when it's a $40 thing. When it's a very cheap thing, you get
Yeah.
complainers, and you just get people nagging about stuff. People don't complain about a $600 thing. They understand how much work it takes, and they will let you do your thing. They understand this is not a fucking easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I got this order from she's not a landlord. She's just we lived at I lived in an apartment that's like more commercial, so they required like 4 people to work in the office. And she was one of the people that worked in the office. Everyone that worked there knew me because I had to constantly run to the front to pick shit up and drop stuff off for shipping. And so they all knew, I mean, like I even let them know when I moved in, hey, I make a lot of fucking noise because I have to work from home. I talk to all my neighbors, let them, like, everyone fucking knows.
Yeah.
And so she hit me up. She said that her boyfriend's birthday is in like 2 weeks, and is it possible to get something made for his birthday? And that's when my wait list 6 months, dude. So I was like,
shit.
Answer, no. But I know you personally, so what is it that you're looking for? So she wanted like a tooled wallet with like some fucking, he's like a car guy. So he wanted some like, she wanted to get him a wallet with some car on the front and some like text on the inside of the wall, some personalization bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But her budget was like $90. Like it was $100. And it was like, that's barely enough for me to build a wallet with no color, nothing, just to build the wallet.
Yeah.
And so I was like, here's what I'll do for you, dude, because I know you. We can get this laser engraved. So if you want to spend the time cleaning up this image yourself, so I don't have to do it and spend all this time, you send me the image. I'll send this to a laser engraver so the dude can imprint an image onto this. I'll throw some color on it and we'll call it a day. Because like in 2 weeks to get this done, and it honestly doesn't even have any like tooling or anything like that. Like that's a absolute rush job. It's honestly not something I really do, but I'll help you out. She ended up flipping out because on the inside of the wallet, I always put my logo on the bottom right, and I put her personalized text on the other side. It said always be your passenger or some shit like that. It's supposed to be like, you know, a car reference or something like that. She said she didn't like it there. She would much rather have it on the right side because it doesn't make sense for a passenger to be on the left. And it's like, I guess. I mean, if you're going to be that nitpicky about it, that's fine. But I can't just swap them. It's a different piece of leather I'm going to need for the other side. And in order for me to unstitch this motherfucker and take that part of the panel out, like, it's easier for me to just start a fucking new wallet, dude. So I'm going to need, like, I'm going to need another $20 to get the laser engraving done because that shit comes out of my pocket. And I don't want to be out any fucking money for this. So just go ahead and $20 and I'll make you a fucking another one, dude.
Yeah.
In like 2 days. That is like the homie hookup, man. But it's only because I know. She ended up saying some bullshit like, I don't fucking want to pay for anything until I get this product. And I was like, I put my foot down hard. I wasn't an asshole about it. Like when I talk to clients, I try to be polite. I'm a generally polite person. Mm-hmm. I know that I can, I don't like being super professional. Like I know I can be, especially from experience working in a lab. Yep. You need to be able to work with a lot of people, but also talk to people in a very professional sense. And I've worked a normal retail job before. I know how to be professional. I just don't like to. It just looks ingenuine. That is not how I act, and I don't want to act and look like a liar. I just want to be who I am and hope that you appreciate that.
Exactly. Also, welcome Cherney and everybody. Thank you for the raid. Thank you. Welcome. But
guys. I told this lady, she gave me those words, the customer is always right. And I said, the customer ain't shit when I'm the boss, dude. Like, I can say and do whatever the fuck I want. If you're going to act that way, I'm just going to, dude, you already paid me. I can just straight up take your shit and walk away. And there's nothing you can do. That's like talking shit to the chef before he's made your food. Like, that's
go fuck yourself. I used to be a chef, so that rings fucking true.
This was like 2 days till her husband's birthday, and I had the wallet. I finished making it and everything, and I was just I'll sit on it. No, if she doesn't want to fucking pay for it, I'll just, I don't know, throw it in the discount pile and sell it at a show or something. And I just told her, I was like, these are my terms. This gets paid before you see shit, or that's it. That's how I've always run my business. Is if you don't like it, that's unfortunate. But you don't have to continue doing business. But the way that I run things is I take a non-refundable deposit for specifically for reasons like this, and end of story. Here's your link. If you want to go put money into this account, then you get your shit. If not, not my problem, dude. And she kept sending me like all these like emotional, personal shit, and I just fucking straight up ignored her. Didn't reply back. It's like, dude, money or nothing. That's it. Yeah. And 2 days later, she eventually puts the money into my account. I send it to her and fucking just never speak to her again. Yeah. That was honestly a job I wish I did not take. I got nothing out of it. Like $90 for building 2 wallets. That was not worth my time, dude. That was me trying to help her, and she was not accepting the help. That was like, she didn't realize how much I was sticking my neck out for her. This was like right before I shouldn't even be doing custom orders. This was like prep time for Viking Festival. I normally cut out like 2 months just to do Viking Festival shit. And this was really like, you know, trying to go out of my way to help her, and she did not like appreciate it at all, man.
That is a burn, man. I've been lucky in the fact that, I mean, I haven't really done a lot of custom work. So like for me, I don't have an answer for that. I do finally have an answer for the biggest oopsie though.
What's that?
This was before I really kind of went head first into leatherworking, and I was building a cosplay for myself, and this was definitely one of the biggest and most ambitious cosplay I pursued at the time, considering my skill level. And I mismeasured the chest plate.
Oh, what a bummer.
After spending about probably 15 to 20 hours worth of stamping tri-weave into the panels, and I mismeasured the chest plate.
What, does that just mean like the piece didn't fit or something?
It was too small. I made it too small for myself.
Made like an additional piece to go around it to like lengthen it out a little bit.
I mean, I could, but like I was so frustrated with it. It is still sitting in a box, and I haven't touched it since.
I would have been so like demoralized. I would like, that's done. It's ruined. I can't fucking touch it anymore.
Yeah, and so knowing what I know now about armor making, I'll probably actually end up just like I'll scrap the panels because I can probably use them for something else. But I'm just gonna rebuild it. But yeah, that was probably my biggest leatherworking oopsie, was mismeasuring myself.
I have a project that's been on the back burner for like 3 fucking years now. That it's done. It's already made. It's so frustrating. Let me grab it real fast. This shit has been sitting in my to-do box forever. I'll be finishing it like this month.
Oh my god, yeah, no, I was so upset with that freaking oopsie. I still have not touched that piece. It is sitting in a box.
There are 3 more pieces that go with this.
Oh shit.
But this is supposed to be a bag. There's supposed to be obviously a front panel for the bag, but also like an owl's head up here that like is actually black. And the only thing that hasn't been done is on the front panel, there's like a little open part in the chest that I want to tool a galaxy onto. And it's just been scary for me for so long. And all about, like, that's all I need to do. Everything else is already fucking, I just got. But I've just been sitting on this fucking panel for like ever now, dude.
Damn, dude. Yeah, no shit. That's a lot of fucking. That's some nice fucking work on it too. And I'm just like, no, I understand. It's fucking. You know, as soon as you touch it, it's fucking. There's no going back.
Yeah, that's the thing about big projects like that scare me, is like, you get a certain amount of time into it, and now I'm really worried about fucking it up. Like, yeah. I don't want to do anything risky at this point because there's no going back from there.
Yeah, no, I get that. Alrighty, guys. So we are almost at the 2.5 hour mark. Any other questions for Brandon before we call it a day and send you on the rest of your day? Anybody else? Links. Oh yeah. Where can people find you?
Your best bet is on Instagram. I do have a website that currently sucks and is under construction. I'm honestly just building an entirely new website. That would be instagram.com/swifthammerleather. Because from there, then you can have a link to the shop. There's a link to the shop in bio, but also you can just see most of my custom stuff and you get a really better image of what I actually do. Because if I send you to my shop, a lot of people just look at what I sell and it's like, dude, that is not a good representation of what I actually do. So I would suggest Instagram.
Yeah. Instagram is where I discovered you and have been following you since. Where I actually reached out to you too. But I just want to say thank you so much for being on and spending a couple of hours just to like shooting the shit with me and talking about what you do. I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you for a while. So I really do appreciate you agreeing to do this with me, man.
Thanks for having me here, man. It was a lot of fun, and it's being cooped up in this fucking room for as long as I have and not doing shows anymore, and it's fucking finally good to just talk to people and show people what to do. Peaches, yes, I am planning on making the switch to Twitch. I've been doing Instagram streams just mostly to get practice of talking to myself like a crazy person. But I have been getting on board with, I've got the equipment, got the microphone, got the camera, I've got the fucking the Streamlabs bullshit. I am slowly working towards it. Once I make my first official stream, I will let damn near everyone know.
Oh yeah, as soon as you do, let me know, man. We will get you to fucking affiliate within like a 7 days. Like we'll do our best, because then you can start making a little bit of money doing Twitch. As soon as you hit affiliate, man, it opens up a lot of things.
I need to move on to making tutorials and selling my templates, and honestly helping other people get into this. I feel so happy when I've had like a handful of people now say that they've gotten into leather crafting because of me. And it's like, dude, I didn't know I was going to be good at it until I fucking started. So the fact that I can nudge some people to find shit they're good at, that makes me really happy.
Hell yeah, dude. Like that is a very satisfying feeling, is like, helping somebody get to do some fun shit. It's really, really, it's a satisfying feeling.
Yeah, man.
Alrighty, y'all. So we are actually gonna... We got a lot of y'all in here, so let's go raid Sauce, another amazing leather worker. It looks like he is doing some dye work right now, so we will go raid him. Again, thank you all very much for stopping by and hanging out, asking questions. Again, thank you very much, Brandon, for hanging out with me and spending time.
Tons of fun, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed talking with you. Looking forward to chatting with you and maybe working with you in the future. So next week we are gonna do another one. This one is gonna be Pax. Pax is a really amazing leather worker down in Australia. And I'm super excited to talk with him because he's got a lot of fun opinions, and it's going to be a hell of a ride talking with Pax.
I'll be there too, man.
I'm super looking forward to it, Pax. I can't wait to shoot the shit with you and really kind of just... I'm looking to debating with you about certain things. Like, you are going to be fun to debate with. I'm really looking forward to it. So let's go ahead, say hi to Sauce, and y'all have a wonderful day. We will see you again very, very soon. Y'all have a fantastic day. Bye, y'all.
Bye.